Brilliant. There we go. Good day for OBS to update and reset my default equipment. Great, we're back. Thank you for your patience. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And hello to all of you. Hello to Romania, from Philly, and to everywhere else. Very fun. It's the first time we've streamed since I guess the update for launch day, right? Had wanted to do that, I think, more often, but have been very focused on getting our update for playthrough up off the ground, which has also been very fun. So, British Columbia, Canada, nice. Hello, hello. Congrats on 2K. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Yeah, it's originally wanted to do this stream for I think it was for 500K or 500K, 500 total, and we have scratched through several milestones between then and now, so very fun. Great to be celebrating with everyone. London, what's up? Hello, hello. Gonna be your way actually in about a month. North from you, Scotland, Ireland for a bit. Greetings from Germany. Where in Germany? Hello, hello. Kentucky, nice. I was just down in North Carolina a month or so ago. Very fun. I always love seeing what a widespread we have of everyone. Very cool. Switzerland. Hello, hello. We're in Switzerland. Near Dresden. Nice. I lived in Cologne for a hot second when I was a kid. Better part of a year. Denmark. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Will this still become a somewhat edited video? Not one as much for streams. Netherlands. Hello, hello. Yes, I think we are going to... So here's the plan. This is perfect. On the road in Arkansas. Nice. North Carolina, Hungary, Minnesota. Love this. Very cool. So here's the plan for today. So this is going to still be the edited series, right? And I want to be very respectful of that for exactly that reason. Folks who are playing along or following along, but either can't tune in today or can't, spare the time or don't want to go back and watch a long meandering VOD to try to keep up on what all has happened. So we're going to do things, but we're only going to do things that don't advance the plot, so to speak. So the idea is, look at this, what wonderful timing. We have been blessed by the Captain of Industry gods that our pre-planned stream is now also nicely timed with 4.1. We're going to check out some of the 4.1 stuff. We're also going to do a lot of terraforming work. So if you've been following the series, you know that this will soon, relatively speaking, be the site of a large electronics 2 factory. That's our plan for this island based on the materials that are already there and all of that. What we can do is advance a lot of the terraforming work, flattening everything that we need to do in order to actually turn this into a factory floor, right? And there's other terraforming that we need to do as well. So the other project that I've been thinking about, we made our way up here to make sure that we could get to the better iron ore here, but soon we're going to get to gold, and this will be our best source for that, so wouldn't mind making our way up there too. So stuff like that, basically. There's a lot of aesthetics stuff, I'd love to get paving. I've been neglecting paving for a few episodes, kind of figuring I'd get to this eventually, etc. I might work on some cable strategy, which is to say, fix some of our rather ugly pipe work that has popped up over the course of the playthrough. Call it tech debt, if you'd like, on making things organized. So that's generally the plan. And in fact, so for example, I'm gonna stop the active research that we were working on and just start queuing up some odds and ends that we haven't picked up yet, just so that we have them banged out. So progress without progress, if that makes sense. So we'll get to work on that. But some of the really cool stuff that I'm excited for is all this new 4.1. And I think the thing I'm most excited for is the train network stuff. That I do want to save, actually implementing it in our base. I want to save that for the next episode, essentially, the one that I will start working on to get out early next week. But we can talk about it. I'm pretty excited about it. So they've changed this all now, and I do wonder if it's going to break anything. That's one of the reasons we'll play today with a careful eye. It's going to convert, I think, some of the some of the old train structures that we had. But what you can do now is create train networks rather than individual discrete lines where a specific train has a specific set of instructions going to specific stations in a predetermined way. There's a lot more flexibility. And what you can do, in short, is create sort of a contained truck network style push pull, keep full, keep empty, idle, etc. Sort of situation for a bunch of different trains. And it gives, I think, a whole bunch of flexibility. It's really good for the one-to-many or many-to-many train lines that I think haven't had a good shot for yet. It's like, I think getting steel out to the various places that steel is used would be helpful. Same thing with like electronics, all of that. So I'm really excited to implement it. I think that's going to be really quite helpful. We'll have like waiting yards and fueling stations, and I think it's going to be a real step change in terms of what you can do with trains in Captain of Industry. And I think it at least looks like it's going to address a lot of what my outstanding complaints were still at the end of update 3. So good stuff. Yeah. Baltzen. Oh, welcome. Welcome to Titan. Well done. So you have actually jumped the gun in a very positive way, I appreciate, on one of the announcements I wanted to make too during this stream. I'll go into it in a little bit more detail, but we have, as of today, opened up channel memberships finally too. That means different things for different channels, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the future, but I think you have officially become the first channel member. Congratulations, and thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Howdy, hello to everyone as well. I am having trouble keeping up with all of the different places that I need to send specific greetings, but I promise you, wherever you are, I am happy that you're here with us right now. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to get going, and the comment about paving is a good one as well. I would like, I think, to get working on that. So what I'm going to prioritize, you can see we do roadways, right? This is more, if nothing else, for my visual organization. Make sure that I can kind of keep things straight in my head. But as we know, it also does reduce the maintenance cost for the period of time that a vehicle is driving on it. The other thing that I like to do just for visuals, though, is actually get our factories to be paved as well. Just helps me visually. So, want to start doing that in areas like this, for example. So I'll just start slapping this down willy-nilly. You can micromanage this with trucks, and I really don't love the way that they tend to build by default, so I'm not going to bother today because we have a lot that we're going to do, but I do hope that that is something that they get going on the quality of life front as well. We'll see. I'm optimistic. It feels like they've really been prioritizing quality of life lately, and I think that you can see a lot of that in this most recent update. It feels like a train quality of life update in a lot of ways. So very exciting stuff. Borky, welcome. Thank you. Also Titan, well done. Much appreciated. Would love to see how you put the lines and everything in. It makes OCD. Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. So I'll show you how I do roads. Let's pick an area that needs one. How about, kind of did everything out there, didn't we? How about this? This pathway here is going to be a road. Well, rogue train track. Interesting. It's going to be a road here. So what I will do generally now that I've already set this up is just sort of copy paste it, making sure that you toggle to select the surfaces and surface paints. But I'll do this from scratch so that you can actually see it as well, because as King Crimson says, aesthetics are the most important thing in any automation game. That's absolutely correct. So what I tend to do, I go with 8 tile roads because, as many people know, I'm not a pipe burrier. I tend to run them underneath these ramps, and that's the precise width of the ramps. And I've actually seen some cool aesthetics. I like when people do like a sidewalk of like stone or something instead. I tend to do this paving thing. It feels more factory to me, but I don't know. I'll probably get bored of it and change over time. The other reason that the 8 tile width works well for me is it's also the precise width of a large crossing, which is what I tend to build long term everywhere. So would do something like this. I would say, all right, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's also half the width of one of these larger boxes. You go in, you slap it all down, and then in the paint section, I usually like the yellow set. Feels roadway-y to me. And then you can see we pick this one right here. And I usually rotate, make sure they're all at least consistent, and just sort of run like so and so. And then on this one, this is it picks the edge. So I'll do that here. And we'll talk about how to do corners in a second. And then it comes back and goes here. Now around the edges, right? That's what this one's for. You go here, and there's a tiny little corner fella. I like the rounded one that you can put, rotate here, and so on and so forth. And you drag and drop out to here. And I'll clear these out, these turns. Finally, fill it in, rotate, like so. So that's what I tend to do, and then, like I said, I just copy and paste blocks once I have the basics set. But that is how you make the types of roads that I like to set up here, at least. We can do one more. We can do the T intersection. That's the other key one, I guess. Once you've done this, it also copy and pastes nicely. This actually reminds me, one of the cool things, quality of life wise, that they added is the drag and drop, as I was just doing with the painting, but you can do this now for buildings. And the first one that pops into my head is like, you ever try to make, what are they called, the retaining walls? You used to have to go, oh my gosh, all right, well, I'm going to place this segment 1, I'm going to place it 2, I'm going to place it 3, 4, I'm going to get annoyed at that, so I'm going to copy paste this larger segment and work my way through. Now, you can simply, holding Control, click and drag. And even better, if you use the scroll wheel while you're doing it, you can add systematic spacing, which is so cool. Look at this. It's insane. Like, I might actually use retaining walls now. I'm a big fan of that, and it's also going to make blueprinting a lot easier. We can talk about the builds that come with that too. Yeah, finally, the walls are no more pain in the ass. I don't want to oversell it. They might still be a pain in the ass a little bit, but they're less of a pain in the ass, for sure. For sure. The pipe burning thing is annoying. Wish they would actually make it more realistic. I agree. I think that I get why people do it. It feels like the way that it's in the game right now is like a half measure that they tolerate rather than something that they've actually fixed. I do hope they do get there eventually in 1.0. How do you think this game is for everyone? How did I get into it? Yeah, I think it can be for everyone. I think everyone has the potential to enjoy it. I think the difficulty with the game is that there is a learning curve, and that's a lot of what I try to do here, is to try to lower that bar, lower that barrier to entry, so that more people are not intimidated, can see how to make this game work. Because once you're on the other side of it, oh my gosh, there's nothing else like this. It doesn't have a direct competitor or comparison. It does. It's the perfect constellation of all the different things that I like one-off about different other factory games or survival games, colony sims. It's a really unique compilation or combination of all of those features. It's really cool. I love it. So I think everyone should try to get into it if they'd like to. If you think you will like it, you probably will. And I promise you the learning curve is real but manageable. So that's usually the measured advice I answer that question with. Yeah. Always stall out after plastic. Need a to-do list. I've started trying to use the Steam overlay one. But yeah, it's there's a point in the game, like it's pretty straightforward what you have to do early on, and then it does open up. And that's great. You want it to. That gives you flexibility and all of that. But it does also leave you a little bit listless if you aren't, if you don't know where you're going or whatnot. And I totally get that. The trying to find the inspiration or whatever is can be a real. It's a big jump to get past that point. Ever played Oxygen Not Included? I have heard, and I actually have it in my Steam library. I need to actually fire it up, but I've heard actually that it is a pretty comparable in a lot of ways game, which means I absolutely need to need to try it out. So yeah, one of my favorite things since I've started doing this is the game recommendations that I get from everyone else in the community too. It's helped me discover new stuff. It's really cool. I don't know. I'm not sure that I was surprised by it. It's just like the thing that I didn't realize I would find so fun. So very cool. Thanks for answering. Of course, absolutely, absolutely. Saw someone use retaining walls and a stacker to make huge storage piles for ore. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great way if you want to like. So for example, if you have the mining throughput and you want to just get this ore up out of the ground so you can fill it in and build back over it, you want to just put it somewhere else, you can, instead of doing it in a million large storages, you can just toss it back on the ground in a more contained bucket. I love that idea. It's like, and you don't ever have to play min-max. It's not super min-max to lift it, shift it, and then have to lift it and shift it again, but it's also like a great way to get it, as I said, out of the ground without lighting it on fire. So I love that. Oxygen Not Included, one of the best games out there. So there are a million ways to do the same thing. That is, yeah, a million ways to do the same thing is exactly what I'm looking for in a game like this, right? If I could boil it down to one thing, I want a game to make me make interesting decisions, right? If it's an obvious thing where it's like, wow, there's four options, but one is just always better than the others, that's not an interesting choice. It's not even really a choice. But if you have four choices, each of which works in different scenarios, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. We want to make interesting decisions. It allows you to play again differently every time. So yeah, if that's what you love about Oxygen Not Included, then I really need to fire it up. So I will. Love it. So shockingly, we have annihilated our concrete. That is a good thing for our trucks to be working on in the background. And yeah, they come and they just do it like weird little chunks at a time. You can clean this up by Unity building. We can certainly afford it, but you know, so be it. We'll get there. It is what it is. All right, so I've got as you notice, the ship out on the map as well. So we'll keep working on that. And let's talk billboards. Check this out. So this was a sneaky, fun little addition with update 4. I'm just chuffed by it. As you've probably noticed earlier when we built it, there's more now. And it's not just a single monolithic, one that is the game's name. You can now do custom billboards and anything that's ASCII. So you can do just very silly shit if you'd like. So I think we'll probably do some sort of, St. Charles Island intro over, for example, as you enter the island from the bridge. So we'll give it a little welcome to that comes first. And you can, for what it's worth, you can do so rather than this, you can do I think you could do even 3 rows. So if we went like this, it does like 2 rows, and I think the back row is at a higher elevation, right? You can see it a little better. I don't know that you can get past that. So if we do 4, yeah, so the height becomes an issue at the 4th one. But that's kind of fun, right? I like that. I'm gonna play around with this for sure. But what a fun little addition. I don't know, it just shows that like they hear what people like in the community, and they do a really good job of saying, all right, we can work with that. We can give you that. No problem at all. So I really appreciate that, and they just snuck this stuff in. Oxygen Not Included systems are so much more complex too. Less alternate outputs, but the fact that you can build factories by properly controlling ambient temperatures to condensate appropriate elements is nuts. Wow, okay. Yeah, that's a layer of complexity I don't think I've seen in another game before. I like that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's cool. Can you center the top row? Yeah, it's a good question. So, I mean, if nothing else, like manually, I suppose, right? But I don't think, like, there's no formatting. I wish I could just like select all, Control E, Control B. I don't know. It'd be fun if they could be bold too. If this is like just the latest iteration and there's going to be more and more of that in the future, like I said, I think they're really focusing on quality of life stuff. This at all is a quality of life thing. I wouldn't be shocked if they end up making it even easier in the future, which is cool. And you can play around with the colors too, by the way. So if this is a little Kirby, he should probably actually be pink instead. I wonder, can you apply the settings? You can. You can recolor, like you can take a recipe or something with the the eyedropper. Very cool. Yeah. Anyway, I like this. I like this a lot. Challenge of COI, all the extra outputs and having to deal with them way more than any other genre of the game. Yeah, yeah, I like that. Like, I feel like the refinery is just the absolute pinnacle of Captain of Industries, forcing you to handle the byproducts of what you're making, right? Like, if you don't handle the byproducts or the offshoots that you are accidentally making, sorry, it's over. You're out of diesel too. I love it. It really forces you to think creatively, because this is another spot where there's a million different things you can do with the byproducts. You can do it differently each time. You can do it specific to what your need is here. So like this refinery is currently set up because, well, we need a lot of diesel. This thing makes diesel until there's no more space for diesel on the island. But what we'll probably do over here for our Electronics 2 factory, for example, is we're going to take this oil and then make a refinery that is optimized specifically for naphtha production, because we'll use that to run it into plastic for all of the electronics that are going to be in this area. So you can kind of bespoke, custom build a totally different, entirely different refinery that, you're still going to call a refinery. There's so much, flexibility within. It's pretty cool. But it gives a huge headache. Absolutely. Complexity and flexibility. Yeah, it's a huge balance. It's a huge balance. And that's the trade-off, right? It's if something is complex and flexible, right? Like it can't be one or the other. It has to be both. And I think that, yeah, in the conversation in the Discord speak to that. Everyone has their favorite way. It's different every time. Absolutely. And um, I feel like that's also true with the train system, that balance that they have. One of the complaints that everyone had, or at least that I had, and I heard people agree with in some places, is that, you know, they wanted to make a system that just works, right? And in a lot of ways it does. But when it doesn't, it's really hard to get a peek under the hood and understand why. Whereas I think something that has a lot more like specific signaling options, think like a factorio or a satisfactory, it's harder to learn. But once you do, that that complexity gives you flexibility. And I'm hoping that this network's, ability sort of fixes that tension. But that flexibility complexity trade-off is at the core of all of these games, I think, in a lot of ways. Yeah. You'd like to be able to make the signage from different materials like gold. Oh, hell yeah. I love that. It just feels like so opulent. We don't have it unlocked yet, but it feels so opulent when you can pave with gold too. It's just, oh, I don't know what it is. It's gaudy as hell, but it makes you feel rich for sure. For sure. Stationeers. Don't think I've ever played it. I don't think I've ever played Stationeers. I'll have to take a peek at that as well. I swear, my list is getting so long and I love it. And in fact, one of the things that I want to do, um, in the future here, now that we have caught our breath, I think a bit, getting the update 4 playthrough off the ground, I want to do the series I've had in my head, what I've been sort of calling like a free play Friday idea, where this is fun. I like streaming, especially on a Friday afternoon. Like, who wants to do anything else on at the end of the work week or whatever? But we could have the community pick whatever game it is that we would play for the first time on stream. And I would love to have like a structural way to give myself space to learn all these new games. And maybe there's a game that you would suggest because you want to see if it's fun for you too, right? Like I could see that being, I don't know, I could see that being fun for everyone. So let's see, but keep an eye out for that if that sounds interesting to you. And I will keep Stationeers along with Oxygen Not Included and about a million other games that people have kindly suggested in our Discord. I love it, in mind for such a thing, which would be great. Let's do some more paving. That sounds great. Love to tune into a Friday stream. Hey, yeah, we're doing it right now, right? It's the best time to stream for me personally. I love it. My brain is pretty fried for everything else, so it's like a good way to hang out and connect. I don't know. It's like, I don't know if anyone's work from home versus not or whatever, but if I were picking one day to go into the office, it probably wouldn't be actually Friday because everyone likes to like leave early for the weekend. But a job I had a little while ago, that was the one day that they did force us in, and I didn't love that part, but I did like that it was at least the day in the week when everyone was like, all right, well, I'm mostly wrapped up, so people were more willing to or able to socialize and stuff. So it's a good time. Early game, I assume for stationeers is almost auto death loop in the first couple of times. Yeah. Yeah, I bet. And that's the fun thing too. Like, I don't know. I I like playing games that I'm decent at because it helps me feel like I have something to offer people, but I also like learning games for the first time. And I don't want to like worry that I have to know a game perfectly before I can put it on the channel, as long as I give myself the license to say, hey, isn't it fun to watch me struggle? If that's entertainment, then I like that as well structurally. It'd be pretty nice. All right, let's get back out there. Oh, we're still repairing. Still repairing. Yeah, the other one that I've heard in the genre that everyone, I don't know if everyone, but everyone who's suggested it to me says it's among the more difficult ones out there is Workers and Resources. I still haven't played it, but it's been at the top of that long list I mentioned for quite some time as well. Wait a second, you have tracks crossing the road without a ramp. Tracks crossing the road without a ramp. Where? What do you mean? Like train tracks crossing the road without a crossing? Or, oh, over here. Yeah, right here. Yeah, yeah. So this is, I don't know. I could do an up and over and then back down and around. But basically what I did here is say, well, functionally, this part of the road, I just already built it, but like functionally, this part of the road is meaningless. I could just put up road barriers. And if you need to go from here to there, you just kind of go zip, or sorry, you go zip like so. So it's a bit of a detour to avoid this, but yeah, in general, I'm trying to decide uh, what our strategy here is going to be. I would like to, I don't know, we have to use some height for the train tracks, but generally speaking, I prefer to build around tracks because they're the least flexible thing. So like when I'm making a factory, give me one that has a mixture out here. When I'm building a factory, I place the belts first, and then I build the pipes on top and around that because pipes are more flexible than belts. And I think the same principle, like I use the same principle for infrastructure as well. It's the least flexible thing. And so, trucks can navigate around. I prefer to do that rather than make our trains navigate around our trucks, if that makes sense. Railroad trenches and truss bridges for cars. I saw someone do that in probably in the subreddit, and I saw that picture and it's just been seared into my brain. I absolutely want to make that happen. I'm trying to decide where the right spot is. And you know what? It might very well be like just to go below here in this high traffic area. So still thinking about it, but absolutely that is in my brain for sure, for sure. Main span of tracks, thought about elevating it. Yeah, so what I would like to do in the longer run is probably have an elevated pass through, sort of like think like a highway versus a local road, where if a train starting over there is destined for over there, I don't send it on the road here. Right now, these tracks are mostly because I'm envisioning us bringing like rock and or slag here off of this spine and grabbing steel and dropping off iron. So like there's going to be a lot of train stations in this area. If they all have to ascend and descend every time in these high traffic areas, it's going to be, I don't know, potentially messy. It's possible, but potentially messy is my thinking. So let's see. We'll evolve. We'll figure it out. Um, Take a look at Neil Ass's world for track inspiration. Yeah, I like the elevated aesthetic to be clear as well, right? Like to divorce the two concepts for a second. Um, Aesthetic is all you need to justify something, right? If you think it looks cool, hell yeah. If you want it to be purely efficient, that's also totally valid, right? Hell yeah, do it. Um, I usually end up trying to balance the two because there's an aesthetic to efficiency for me specifically. But I also, it depends on the day. Some days, like if I if it had been a different day that I had built this initially, it might have been elevated to start. I'm not sure. Which probably means we'll end up doing both in the longer run. So be it. Can you put track under the ground? Man, I wish. Man, I wish. I would love if they got tunnels into the game, not just for like subways, essentially, but also to cut through a mountain without having to like literally mine the whole way through it. As I understand it, I don't know if it's a fundamental limitation, but it's a thing that is made way, 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 way more difficult to the point that they're deprioritizing it because of the way that the terrain system works. And I don't know that this is a trade-off. I'm just saying if it is, I would take it because the terrain system in Captain of Industry is also so cool and so unique. I love it. And if the trade-off of that is they can't make tunnels, fine, I'll live with it. If they can do this and make tunnels, I will be so happy. I will be so happy. Let's see. But I think that verticality is the one thing that, like, I like verticality a lot in Satisfactory, for example. I like making skyscraper factories rather than wide, single floor type of factories. But there is no ability to do anything quite like that here in Captain of Industry. It's also why I probably use more lifts than the average person as well. I like, making use of vertical space and elevated tracks, right? That's a big spot for it. Going underneath would be another. So we'll see how it shakes out. But I'm cautiously optimistic. They figured out bridges and amphibious vehicles. I wouldn't have said either of those things were possible with the terrain system as of a year ago. And then they just went and did it. So maybe update 5 will be tunnels. Let's see. Fingers crossed, right? Yeah, the mountain carving is very tedious. It gets a little better with mega vehicles, but like honestly, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot to do. It's a lot to do. Seen a way to do a level type situation really works with belts and pipes. You can sink the roadway, trainway if height becomes a problem. Yeah, and so like one of the first things I actually did when we were trying out in the 4.0 launch stream was to dig a little channel underneath and then try to run a bridge over it. And I don't think I dug deep enough, but like because I thought it didn't work, and then I saw someone has figured out some version of it. But I would love to get that. I would love to get that set up, especially in this high throughput area or high traffic area. Cheaper to run trains or belts over a distance? I mean, I think it's trains, right? I mean, the answer is it depends, but what does it depend on? It depends on the distance, I suppose. If you are running a high volume over a long distance, trains become way cheaper from from maintenance and power perspective. Obviously, a train takes some workers, but like, two. It's not like that's way more than a belt. So, I mean, I'm trying not to be biased because again, the aesthetics of trains are all I really need to justify them. But I do think from an efficiency perspective, trains are objectively the better answer, or the more efficient answer, shall we say, over distances that are at least, I don't know, maybe the break even. This is intuition, not calculation. Maybe about this distance, like 2 of the big squares. I feel like that's where my intuition says the break even is. But that is probably biased by my aesthetic for sure. Didn't know I streamed. Glad you're oh yeah, it's glad to catch you as well. I don't tend to stream all that often. I have been meaning to do so more. I think this is a step in that direction. But yeah, it's been like a month, so very fun to catch you live as well. Yeah, this is good. It's a good reminder. I need to prioritize doing this more. Maybe we'll make it a Friday thing. It's a fun way to spend Fridays. It really is. We've gotten the electric boiler. Great, no problem. Mic volume a bit low or on your side only? It's probably me. I'm a relatively soft-spoken person, so I have tried to put the gain up on my microphone. It's also shall we call it a starter level microphone? I'm excited to invest in a better one, but if I put the gain up too high, my plosives, my P's and B's, start to really pop, and I don't know, that bugs me at least. So apologies if you need to crank our volume up a little bit. You're not the first person to ask. Probably won't be the last either. Funny, your save looks just like ours. Not that you're following along or anything. What a great coincidence. I mean, great minds think alike, right? And you're clearly an intelligent person if you've chosen to tune in the first place. So it's probably Probably a correlation between the two, I'm sure, right? Makes sense. You want to follow a train? Absolutely. I keep getting distracted. I'm not doing anything anyway. Let's ride a train across the bridge here. But yeah, so oops. There we go. I like this one. This is one of my favorites. The train on the bridge is a good look. And I like these cute little wireless steam locomotives too. They make a really good shuttle train, which actually was one of the things that I didn't love about the initial implementation of Update 3 was that there wasn't much of a space for trains that were short distance high volume. You kind of had to justify it by spinning up a longer distance. And I like this. So I tend to build, like, as you saw over there, in compact, quote unquote, urban downtown type environments. Like this is exactly the sort of train that fits in there better. And yeah, the amphibious vehicles are wide. Someone said that earlier. I didn't have a chance to acknowledge that. Yes, they are. They're super wide. And in fact, what has been bothering me since we built them, they are so wide they don't fit on the smaller level crossings. And if you want an amphibious vehicle to come in here, it has to go. Did I upgrade this one? Where is it? There's one that I made that's large enough for them to get in here, I think. Maybe not. Anyway, I've been meaning to go back and upgrade these to the larger versions because specifically the amphibious vehicles can't fit. I thought that was only going to be an issue when we got to mega vehicles. Nope. They are chonky fellas. I mean, to be fair, their throughput capacity is that of a chonky fella. They carry 80, isn't it? Yeah, and we have what is it called? The overloaded maintenance trade for more capacity. So this is a base of 80. And that's a lot. That's like, it's a half mega vehicle earlier, much earlier in the process. So I kind of think it's good to have these around, even on a not water map, to have a handful of them. They're really good for like tossing extra slag or dirt. A lot of the like loose goods that you have to go landfill, I think they're really, really helpful in that spot as well. Instead of terraforming some areas, so you thought about maybe using the smaller bridge to get places. Yeah, so on the bridges, my like mental model is the big fella is for going from one island to another, and the truss bridge, the smaller fella, is for navigating things within within the island. And you know, there's exceptions to both, but that's just a quick mental shorthand. I was trying to think if maybe using it instead of a ramp to get like a train station up here for the golds to come down this way would be kind of fun, or something like that. I actually oddly have had trouble finding spots in the geography of this particular map to run them. It's like this is the lower area, but it's full of our settlement and then our refinery, which, you know, if I'd been planning ahead, maybe it wouldn't be. But I've imagined, like, for example, a bridge being what helps us get from this level to this level in this area in the future somehow. So I'm looking for opportunities for it, for sure, for sure. How do you refuel them if they're in the water? Yeah, so they come and refuel themselves like a normal truck does. They'll go to any fluid storage, and that's exactly why I've placed a diesel right by the slipway or the boat ramp, depending on your geography. It's still one of my favorite things we've learned in this series. So I place them here. You don't send a refueling truck to refill them. They refill themselves. So that is another difference from, say, an excavator or some of the other larger vehicles as well. So has anyone tried mega vehicles on the bridge? I have not tried, but I understand them to not fit on bridges. And so, for example, this will be a mining island in the future. And as a result, we will need to assemble any mega vehicles that we would want to build here. And that's fine. I like that. I like anything that's going to push us to make like an actual outpost here with some basic infrastructure beyond just the actual mining stuff. So I'm a fan of that, actually. At first, like, my initial reaction was, oh, well then I still have to build a land bridge. And I was like, well, no, I'm sort of using the old model in my head. You could also just assemble it over here. You could even make the vehicle parts 3 on, you know, your home island or whatever. And you can also do some clever cute little like teleportation with Unity. If you have a vehicle depot out here and a vehicle depot over here, and you make the mega vehicle here, and then you pause this depot, and then you press the teleport back to a depot button, this will then be the closest one. And so the mega vehicle with some Unity will pop out here magically. I don't care to do that, like to micro it super hard. I'm going to try at least the outpost approach and to assemble stuff out here. We'll see. But if that's not for you, or if I decide it's not for me in the longer run, that is, I think, a backup plan that's pretty reasonable. Are you planning to get to Megabase in this playthrough, whatever that means? Yeah, it's a good question. So what does that mean to us? Or maybe more simply, what am I thinking long term? I might, at this point, I kind of want to play this longer than our Update 3 playthrough was. We stopped the Update 3 playthrough basically when we had researched all the technologies and done the space station and stuff. And at that point, I was like, all right, well, we've explored it, and I don't know. I think that's kind of it. But I feel like I'm seeing potential beyond the tech tree in this map and this approach. And so, for example, like, we don't need to come turn this entire island into an electronics 2 and 3 factory, but we could. And that sounds kind of fun, actually. And the other thing that I haven't yet shown off, but that I wrote on a little tile here, is we could turn this island into a massive steel producing factory, because what do you need for that? Well, you need iron, maybe some coal to fuel, maybe a little bit of water, and some limestone. This is like intended, or if not, such a happy accident, to be a massive steel factory island. And it's located dead center of the map. It can send steel everywhere. So things like that, where it's like, I kind of want to build bigger than I have in the past a little bit, just for the sake of it. So I don't know if that's mega factory all on one island turns into an urban hellscape, which is kind of cool, but sprawling across the entire map, I'm more open to it than I was in the past. So I like it. I like it. Mega vehicles are tier 3. I think there's only 3 tiers, yeah. See a use case for logistics zones? Absolutely, but I still haven't figured them out. I eventually, and I think this might be the map that forces me to figure it out, I don't want to be sending trucks off 3 islands away when they shouldn't be. It just feels like the cost to getting that wrong is finally high enough to make me figure them out, but I have not found them so far to be worth the trouble. I'm sure that's just me not investing the time, but yeah, that's been my experience so far with them. Yeah. Like the idea of factories on different islands. Haven't tried it yet. Yeah, I don't know. It seems possible. In the past, the idea of playing super late, like I think we've all seen those maps where someone has played for like 50,000 in-game years and they turn the whole thing into one big, wide, flat, open area, and that's like impressive in a moment. But I can't imagine just doing that. That I lose attention there. But this is a different challenge than that, right? There's not sitting there waiting for the Diggy Boys to fill everything up. So let's see. I'm more open to it. Are you going to expand your towns and farms? Yeah, so, I mean, we'll have to. The farm is probably what happens first. I was rambling about this a little bit in the last episode. This is not future-proof. It just isn't. We have a lot of breathing room still. We can crank up our production. I have us on the consume more food than we need edict, and we're capped on Unity, so that's actually quite a waste. Maybe I'll just stop doing that for a moment. And this is good enough for now, and we don't have to do it right this second, but it's not our long-term solution. You know what I mean? And yeah, exactly. You could just make one island, town, and farm, right? That's kind of where I was headed with that is, this is the sort of thing that you kind of want to feed directly into the settlement anyway. And I've been sitting here trying to decide if I'm finally, now that we can click and drag, going to do the settlement wall thing where we do lifts up, 3 layers of walls to run all this down, because I'm not running a train like that. I love trains, and I'm still not going to do that. So I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I could absolutely see a farm and settlement island that then by train receives all the other goods that we would deliver to it, right? And I don't know, which island would that be? I guess toggle the fog while it's raining here. You need a lot of wide open arable land and lots of accessible water. This has meandering arable land, lots of water. This almost could be, but I like it better for a steel factory. This almost could be, but I like it better for an electronics factory. I don't know. I like the idea. I just have to kind of figure out how and where we would implement that. But yeah, I'm definitely, I do not believe that this is our long-term solution here. Happy little accident. Sounds like Bob Ross Island to me. Yes, someone once commented that they thought I was the Bob Ross of Captain of Industry, and I've never been so deeply complimented in my life. I really appreciated that. That one stuck with me. When you make logistics zones, don't include your vehicle depot in other zones as the parts won't get delivered. Other than that, they're great. Okay. Or use export storages. Brilliant. All right. I definitely need to play around with them. Like I said, I think this is finally the playthrough that'll force me to do that. So I am excited. I'm excited. Let's see. All right, so we have a battle score of 430. So we might be at the edge here, or very nearly at the edge of what we can reach. So we've got a few more battles. And then the other thing we can do is donate. We've got plenty of reputation headroom, so we've got more that we can still do with the ship for sure. After the mining, it could be flattened and settled out here. Yeah, it's a fair point. It's a fair point, right? I mean, there's, like, this area is going to go quick. Like, this iron is going to be gone in the blink of an eye. This coal's not going to last all that much longer. And once that's done, this whole area becomes pretty sizable once you knock it down. Or even you could put the settlement up here if you wanted. This is not a huge copper patch. Yeah, you know, with some intentionality, I think you're right. This could, maybe easier than I was giving it consideration, this could become a pretty good fit for a farming island pretty quickly. That's a great point. If there's water there, yeah, 100%. I mean, there's water anywhere if you've got coastline, but it's nice if you don't have to do all that, for sure. Can you use your cargo ships to move cargo from island to island instead of a bridge? Man, I wish. Man, I wish. I think, I'm cautiously optimistic, and I might just be looking for what I want to see, but I think it's coming. It's not there yet. I think it's coming. Because they actually added, like, ship pathfinding. So instead of just, like, vibing in from the edge of the map and going directly to a dock, you actually have them make their way, figure out where the hell they're actually going, in the same way that a truck does. So they've added ship pathfinding in this past patch, and I hope it is a precursor to being able to send stuff back and forth from island to island, because man, yeah, this map would be so much cooler, right? if we could do that too. So let's see, fingers crossed, I really hope. With this game, you tend to make a starter factory, then proper factory, then demolish starter factory. Yeah, I do kind of think that might be what happens here. You know, I have done, so what you're describing, that exact process is exactly how, for example, I play Satisfactory. In Captain of Industry, I tend to make things a little bit more permanent. They don't have to be, but I find that they kind of can be. But at the same time, I don't know, now that we have all these logistics options, like I said, I kind of want to have a big steel factory out here, which would make this obsolete, not immediately, but eventually. And the same is true with, really, take your pick of any of the rest of this stuff. So I could see myself actually doing that, like structurally obsoleting stuff in a way that I hadn't really in the past. And I think that goes hand in hand with the question around, like, are you intending to play much longer than you normally do in this playthrough, more or less. So yeah, I agree. I think retaining walls next to the settlement make a cliff look cool. Yeah, yeah, I like that, because that's another one I've seen pictures of, inspirations of, and you can even see that I started to prepare a little bit of the space in here. It needs to go another row or two, I think. It looks way cleaner than, for example, the janky pipe we ran here earlier to get water down, and that was originally actually how we got water to the settlement here as well. As long as we have the time to put the terraforming into it, I think it can look pretty clean. But it is interesting with, like, a waterfall of, like, what, like 12 different foods eventually that we might do. It's a totally fine base case. I'm not opposed to it. But I also do see the appeal of I don't know, agrarian paradise, a tiny island of green in the midst of our industrial hellscape across the rest of the archipelago. So we'll uh, we'll think on it. We'll have to go to shot. Question: how many times have I finished the game? Yeah. So on the channel, we've got two series. I actually don't know off the top of my head how many rockets I have collectively launched. I will say I wasn't playing this game for all that long before starting the channel. I, did the whole like restart a million times thing that everyone does while they're learning. So I had put some hours in, but of course, you're always going to have the least experience with the end game. But the end game, to answer the second part of your question, is what used to be you would launch a rocket and then that's it. The credits still roll, by the way, when you launch a rocket, but you can play beyond it now. So in the tech tree, just to make this a little bit more concrete, the rocket phase is like here, but now there's actually like a space program that you can, once you've started launching rockets, you can build a permanent space station, and that gives you space science and all this stuff. If I'm being honest, it's not as fleshed out as I hope it eventually is, but it's something. And the one thing that's kind of neat you can do is capture asteroids and blast them back down onto the map. And those asteroids have more ore. So it's a mechanism where once you run out of stuff on the island, you can still play past that point without having to do the contract route. So I like that it's an option compared to contracts. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as contracts. This is also a hobby horse of mine, though, is that contracts are a little overtuned right now in the game in general. So it's kind of cool, but I don't personally think I will do a lot of asteroid capture and mining. I don't know if others do. I certainly don't look down on that, but I think it could use a relative buff, I suppose, compared to the baseline alternative of a bunch of contracts. So do they land on your factory? Well, if you aim poorly, yeah, they absolutely can. I generally would suggest aiming rather far away. So for example, the alternate, if we didn't turn this into a food and settlement area, would be, well, this is where we'll drop our asteroids because it's far away from things and we already have the infrastructure for mining. So you blast the asteroid down onto the map and then you mine from it like it's a new deposit. It's kind of cool. It is cool. And there's the like 9-year-old boy in me still likes the idea of, well, I just spent all this time building this cool thing. I'm going to blast it with an asteroid and then quit, right? So it's a kind of a fun, cathartic way to wrap up a playthrough as well. So, but to each their own. Should take pride in retaining walls. Yeah, I do want to, especially now that they are more easy to play with drag and drop. I've seen some cool stuff along the coastline here as well. I think it was on the subreddit, I saw someone do something pretty neat with the slipway that's way better than the crap I did here. I do want to redo this eventually, if nothing else, because there's still, you can see there's trash. There's trash in it. It's upsetting. But like kind of a cool like sort of slide ramp down to the side instead of just going straight into the water and stuff. I think that it has some potential for like a quay, waterfront thing. I also hope that that's something that they build out and make a bit more easy to use in the longer run, because I do think that there's more potential there. And even with the drag and drop build of these, I do think that it's a little bit, there's more than that. That wasn't the only reason that people find them difficult to work with. The fact that they are half the width of the mining designation, the fact that it's, I don't know, there's a lot. I won't get started, but it's a really good first step towards making retaining walls a bit more accessible for folks. Let's say that. That's how I'll drop it. Then make your signs from asteroid. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. How deep can you mine? There isn't technically a limit. There's a world record that gets, beat every like 6 months or something on the subreddit. Someone's like, oh, I've gotten to depth minus 2,000 almost, I think is the current record that I saw at least. So, it's down quite a ways from where we currently are, but I think it's like 1948 or something. You basically have to create an enormous, because you're limited by the slope, right? the slope only goes down one per tile. And so to really get all the way down there, you kind of have to have a really wide island starting basically at sea level and then just dig an enormous pit in the center. So you're technically there is a hard limit, not because of the game's engine, I don't think, or at least the thing that you hit first is just the map is only so wide, and so it is only possible because of the slope to dig so deep. Saw one playthrough that used asteroids to build a land bridge. Absolutely. Some of the asteroids are just made of rock. You can pick which one you're going to grab. It's sort of RNG what your options will be, but you can get one that's like, oh, I need an iron one, or this one has iron and gold, or oh, this one's just rock. But well, a just rock one sounds like a great way to quickly fill in a channel, right? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Can't wait to see the move over to full clean energy. Something you're going to do? Absolutely, yeah, yeah. So the first playthrough that we did, the update 3.1, we never did the full hydrogen cutover. So we're already starting to do it on cargo ships. That's actually part of what this loop is about. We probably can afford, but haven't yet done, the cutover to hydrogen on this one. And we could start adding hydrogen trains relatively soon as well. I don't think we're set up quite yet to do the hydrogen vehicle cutover. We could if we wanted to prioritize it, but we would have to do a lot of retooling. But we made the hydrogen cut over for vehicles really early for our corn rocket playthrough, the other one that's on the channel. That ended up just making a lot of sense because we didn't do any refining at all. We did no oil. So all of the diesel we were making was from fuel gas. We were doing the fuel gas plus oxygen into diesel. This is the only way we could fuel our vehicles the entire playthrough until we got the hydrogen vehicle tech. And it's not that hydrogen is more efficient necessarily than diesel, but it is more efficient to make from fuel gas, if those are your only two options, if everything has to go via fuel gas. And we were digesting corn into fuel gas. So it became better to turn our fuel gas into hydrogen than it was fuel gas into diesel. So we made that switch way earlier than I tend to typically. I'm certain we'll do it eventually in this one as well. And we're not that far, honestly, from those technologies. Where are we? Yeah, they're just out here. So we can start going in that direction pretty soon. I don't know that we're going to go there hard quite yet, but I think probably pretty soon we can start moving that direction. Yeah. Corn Rocket was good. I appreciate that. I had so much fun with that. I just had this like stupid brain rot idea stuck in my head for like a month, and I was like, well, the only way I'm ever going to stop thinking about this is if I do it. So it was fun to see other people also enjoy it. All right, so one of the things I want to do is a little bit of cable management. Some of this stuff has just been bothering me. So, okay, for example, over here, because we don't have the belt throughput to go above 200 yet, we have to run this second belt to service these last two. And this is fine, this is functional, but because we're also dropping off slag manually, I keep getting these stupid freaking alerts about being able to reach it. So what we're gonna do is send this line not here, because we didn't get these alerts before. It's the fact that it's this one tile. What we're gonna do is just stack it up and then run it back around, because it's driving me nuts. So I'm gonna do that here in a moment. Actually, shoot, that wasn't the one I wanted to do, is it? Yeah, okay, never mind. Leave that one. We want to delete this one. And in fact, frankly, we can just do the whole row. Cable management, yes. You know, I don't know if anyone here builds PCs, but you do not want to see the inside of my tower. I'm like glancing at it right now because it has a transparent side, and cable management is not my strong suit. It just isn't. So I'm glad I can do at least a little bit of it here. Let's see. So I guess we need to bring this over. Yeah, basically we could call it here, I suppose. Flip it, obviously. And then connect it out like so. Is that right? I would kind of prefer to do it on the inside here. Yeah, you know what, we're gonna. that. And here to here. Trim that. Great. Sold. Cannot tell you how long this very specific small thing has been bothering me. As we said, aesthetics are the most important thing, right? Control Shift Delete will auto Unity delete. What do you mean? Or like clear a belt? Control Shift Delete. I'm not sure what that did. I'm not sure I follow. Apologies, friend. Let's see. I should also probably unpause these belts then. Nope. Oh my gosh. Here's a quality of life thing. Figure out these damn... the pause icons, when I stack up like this, it's a problem because I stack all these things. But if I ever pause a segment of belts, like if I pause this, it hovers here. It looks like it's the coal one, but that would be here, which would be... Anyway, this is a me problem. Not actually a quality of life priority, but good. So that's something. The other one I had around here, this is not important either, but it's important to me, is I want this to line up with the actual steel belt as well. So what I'm going to do is clear this out, and all of this, and we're going to adjust like so, which of course means we'll need to connect up here, here, and this just needs flipped. There we go. And you know what I bet that did was add some unnecessary pipe supports, so let's use our favorite command. Remove redundant transport pillars. Sweet. 5 more gone. That is one of my favorite quality of life things that they have done in recent past. Love the terraforming mechanics in the game. Would love to see them add some water physics like in Timberborn. Yeah, I agree. I would love to see them like be able to pump water out of like a mine or flooding it or something and having like hydroelectric. You know, if you had hydroelectric, you could almost have a battery system that worked to store power. So one of the, we got it in here somewhere, right? The thermal storage is like their best available battery right now. And I get why they want to make sure that you still have to generate power sort of continuously. They don't want it to be, oh, you just make a stockpile of batteries and you spin up and you spin down whenever you need to, no cost. I like that you have to continuously generate and meet your base load. I think that's a good design decision, and it's a creative choice that isn't always, you know, it's not how most or all games do it, which is cool. And so if they made a battery, a real capital B proper battery, it would a little bit undermine that. But they have shown with the TS that you can do some creative battery stuff, that they're open to that. And yeah, hydroelectric as like a storage, you can sort of run water down when you need to store power and then use the power to pump it back up, rather. That's right, I have it inverted, but there's like this cool battery concept where you use running water to like raise and lower concrete blocks, heavy blocks, that is basically like stored kinetic potential energy because it's like a hovering block and you can drop it back down. Anyway, yeah, that is fun. That is fun. Making a dam would be amazing. I guess the water doesn't flow, it just sort of sloshes. So you'd need a river map, I guess. But that would also be just super cool. I would like that. New location explored. Very good. I think we can take a 430, right? Yeah, I saw a 400. There we go. We're going to take that one first. Gravity battery. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I swear to God, I read some article and went in some Wikipedia rabbit hole probably like 7 or 8 years ago now. I guess that just like got seared into my brain. Let's see, how are we doing? Yeah, we're kind of working on these things. Let's check in. How are we doing out here? We're making some progress, but they're all sitting still, which means, yeah, okay, so our dirt disposal throughput is not as high as it could be. Do we need a bigger train here? Is that worth it? Or should we simply allow truck export? And the other thing we could do is remove that. We'll punt. Give a little bit of time there. Replace the 2 hoppers, the tier 2 hopper. Yeah, make a bigger box. Yeah, all of these are good ways to punt. The issue isn't storage, it's throughput, right? The tier 2 hoppers, actually that is throughput, right? The thing I just did was storage. I think I still might do that though. So let's do that. And then, yeah, can we replace this train? Let's say, I do wonder if tier 2 hoppers are going to be a bit much for these shuttles. Maybe we just say 2 of them. How bad is that? It does slow us down, but only if we were on grade? Yeah, I think that's worth it. We're doing it. Great. Let's see how that goes. Reservoir batteries also in Timberborn. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. How many crops do you need to grow for the town? Yeah, this is one where I wish that there was a better, it's not about documentation, it's just the answer is, quote unquote, it depends, right? Which is the least satisfying answer in the friggin' world. But let's talk about how you would figure out what it depends on. There's a total caloric need per citizen, right? The need is spread, if possible, across the categories first. So, and it's not 25, 25, 25, 25, but let's just say it were. If you only have carbs, at the very beginning of the game, you start with just potatoes. 100% of your caloric need per person goes into carbs. Then you get vitamins. Oh, okay, well, the ideal is 25, 25, 25, 25. Well, the closest we can get to that with those 2 categories is, well, 50 and 50, right? So you split your caloric need between carbs and vitamins. Then, when you can start to offer multiple within a category, so let's just say, you know, right now we're at 33, 33, 33. Again, these numbers are just for convenience, not the actual numbers. Well, within carbs, the fact that we offer 3 doesn't mean that we're going to dominate our caloric intake with these numbers. It's just that within carbs of the 33, 33, 33 across these 3, it would be 11, 11, 11. So it would be 33, 33, 11, 11, 11, if that makes sense. Sort of a nested hierarchy. And again, I don't actually know what the idealized proportions are across the categories, but it's probably not even. I actually can't swear that it isn't, but I just assume that it isn't because that would be too easy. Don't think you need the wood cars anymore. Well, you say that, but there's this whole spot. So where are they? Where are our tree harvesters? I think I have them over here cleaning this up yet. Yeah. Wanted to have them focus here because we're gonna have to mine this. I haven't decided exactly how I want to approach it yet, but I think this space might be helpful for us too. Anyway, I had them over here first, but then the next set of trees to get, as you can see from the highlights, is actually out this way. So sooner or later, and it would be better if I didn't keep pinballing them back and forth, but I do. But you're right that that is definitely a temporary setup. Longer run, we don't need that for sure. Timberborn should be a new Friday stream game. Yeah, totally, definitely. It's on the short list. That's one where I'll tell you, I've played it, but I'm not good at it yet, you know. I'll be totally honest about my level of skill, but my level of interest is very high. I like beavers, they're very funny, very cute. Hold down Control Shift. When you delete something, you'll not need to use, I see. So if I'm holding Control and Shift before deleting it, it automatically Unity deletes it. That's the clarification. Well, let me try that on something I don't mind Unity deleting. You know what we'll do? I was saying earlier I want to clean this up anyway, make this larger. Control, Shift, well, hold delete, Control, Shift, click. And there it is, Unity. Nice. Okay. Oh, that's cool. Look at this. I am still learning shortcuts. I love this. Best part about having a community is learning from others. Very cool. There we go. Do I have the direction is still right. Good. Very cool. Very cool. What's going on over here? Low supply of hydrogen. That's all right. That means we just got a shipment in. All of this sludge will turn into fuel gas, which will turn into hydrogen shortly. Good to have the alert, but I'm not too worried. Someone actually asked, I don't know if anyone is interested, but someone asked a couple folks asked in various places, comments, Discord, etc., about this loop. And we're doing this slag for sludge contract, right? But if we're spending hydrogen for the ship to make hydrogen, is that really worth it, or are we just sort of running in place a lot? And the answer is yes, it is. So if you run the math, we're making excess, almost 50% excess hydrogen. So 800 sludge, 800 gets turned down into, you know, at an 18 to 8 ratio, right? So we'll say divided by 18 times 8, we make 355 fuel gas, something like that. And then the hydrogen recipe, you get 28 hydrogen from 24 fuel gas. And if I typed correctly, you would see that we make 415 hydrogen per trip from this contract. And as long as we have the reduce and save, we're making a pretty decent savings. So that 415 minus the 289, it's like, I don't know, like 30, 40, not quite 50% profit, but yes, it is a net positive loop. Fun fact. Do they have nuclear power? They sure do. They sure do. Why not build the second hydrogen? We don't have the throughput to justify it quite yet. We could. It would help us go through these things faster. But right now, 3 times 8, 24, 24. So we would have to add 3 more of these to go here. And we don't export enough slag to get that much sludge back quickly. So these are a 3-to-1 ratio. I left this in here because I thought we might expand it in the future, and or the other 2 contracts we can use are the rock and dirt directly for fuel gas, and those don't require digesters, so we can just, using this maybe potentially conveniently pre-planned pipe balancer, right here we can have the output of the other contracts directly pipe in here, and we can run it through the pair of them. So it's a little bit thinking ahead. It's not currently required. Do they have nuclear power? They definitely have nuclear power. So we don't have it yet. What I need to do is pull up the tech tree. Nuclear power is not even all that far off, actually. The first one is here. It is, as nuclear power always is in these games, it is complicated but powerful. And it's kind of, I think it's a really big milestone in the game for most folks. It makes power pretty, I don't want to say like, it's not a non-issue, but allows you to be a lot more, to spend a lot more power. And so, for example, like the arc furnace switch that folks make, that I went on my unhinged rant about in the last video, that these things take so much power. People tend to go into them harder once they've gotten nuclear unlocked. It really does turn essentially an item that you have no other use for, uranium. It's literally the only thing you can do with it is turn it into nuclear power. And it creates just a ton of power. There's a lot of infrastructure and a lot of setup. It's very doable. It's just an investment, but it pays off. It pays off quite a bit. And certainly we will be making a reactor, maybe 2, out this way. Yeah, that is not happening tomorrow, but it's not that far in the future either. So yeah, it's, I don't know, if I had to guess, I mean, it's a few episodes from now, right? Like, I think we'd probably want to get the Electronics 2 stuff scaled up first, because it takes a ton. All of these buildings take, yeah, like the reactor itself, 400 construction parts 4, and each construction parts 4 is, you know, an Electronics 2. It's a whole thing, and that's just the reactor itself. There's a lot of setup. So I think we'll go electronics to mega factory as long as we can get it properly excavated, and then probably get into nuclear. That's my bet. Yeah. Train is stuck at the depot. So it is. What are you doing there? Oh, that's right, because we deleted his connection over here because we accidentally forked. Let's see. What's the right way to do this? Maybe we'll just temporarily fork again. Or I suppose we could do a quick turnaround. I don't know. All of this is temporary. We're very much in the next episode as part of the train network revamp going to redo how this loop works. It was an early game, let's just do it because this is what makes sense here, sort of thing. So there we go. It's something. How about the directionality here? Do we have this correct? Yeah, I think we do, because you'll be able to come out and around. And then let's even say if you're coming back this direction, it's via this. All right, does that unblock us? It does. Lovely. Thank you, good eye. I probably would have taken a minute to notice that. You can mine the uranium island early game just by sending amphibious vehicles. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so that's going to be my intention as well. I had this other thought too. I mean, we have the bridge now, but I was looking around right when we first started, and I was like, oh man, all of this sand is very convenient, but it's definitely not going to last all that long. Oh, we could probably just long-range mine from this beach, and this is also true, although again, we're near a bridge now, but I like that idea. The same thing could be true out here, I suppose. I don't know. This is for bauxite, this is for aluminum, longer term in the future, space program era. But I like that. I like that a lot. Again, just like you can still build a land bridge if you prefer, but the fact that you don't have to is very cool. I really appreciate that. Yeah. What's your day job? Engineer. That's a good guess. That would be kind of a fun game. Anyone want to guess? I don't have it's a very boring answer. But yeah, I've gotten the engineer guess before. I've gotten the professor guess. Retail, nice, good guess. It is not. Maybe we'll play the game where you keep guessing. You get it right, I'll tell you. But still vote actuary. Yeah. Oh yeah. I did tell you, didn't I? I already told you. That's right. That's right. Still vote actuary. Actuary is it's more wrong than right, but it's not 100% wrong. I have some experience in finance, I suppose. Yeah. Storage manager, painter, jobless. Love it. No job. This is my job. I'm doing my job right now, right? Painter, I am not a very good painter. I like aesthetics, I appreciate them, I attempt to make them. I am not very good at making them. Mime, but I'm speaking. My friend, you're hearing my voice. Very good. Yeah, no, the short answer is, well, I've been many things in my career. Not that I'm ancient or anything. I have a very short attention span, but the short answer is at first I was a scientist, and then I was a strategist, and I am still freelance a strategist from time to time. But it's nice that I have the flexibility to focus on this lately, which has been really nice. I'm hopeful that this will be the thing that I do in the not so distant future. I think I will be able to, if I'm cautiously optimistic that I will be able to call this the thing that pays my mortgage. It certainly doesn't yet. It will have to eventually, but it doesn't quite. It doesn't quite. Tech repair. I mean, I do a little bit of that, you know. I I repair my own tech. What is a strategist? What are you strategizing? So I have advised, like I advise companies on, oh gosh, a lot of different things. I do a lot of little different things, but let's see. So matters of strategy. What do you want to say? So helping understand like what is the direction to take a company, helping to understand and define like a growth strategy, helping to decide whether to break into a new market or not, um, evaluate an acquisition or not. Like the last thing I did for a consistent client of mine back in the fall was to help them figure out whether they should buy a company in a different market than they currently worked in, that sort of thing. So I like strategy, always have. Managed to get paid to do it for a bit, and now, ideally, I play strategy games. So that's the hope. Can you make the lorry drive where you want instead of just cutting across? Yeah, yeah. So all of these, you can say, hey, go there. And then once they get there, they'll pick up their old order or whatever. But if they're all just like loitering about, you can have them go wherever you want. So hey, stop crowding the zone here. Stuff like that. Very cool, very interesting. Yeah, it's very it still is when I do it. It's a very fun area. Feel privileged to kind of be a part of those conversations sometimes, but it's a lot of the same work as like um, it's open-ended analysis. And before that, yeah, I was a scientist, and I nice poppy seeds, very cool. Uh, the the reason that I got into it in the first place was science training is about okay, there's this open-ended question that no one's answered before, and how are you going to figure this out? So you take a big open-ended problem, you break it down into its constituent parts, and you develop hypotheses, and you gather and test data, and then you refine those hypotheses, and you try to convince people that what you've found or what you think is correct. And it turns out that that's a helpful skill set in the private sector as well. And so I basically took that out of the lab and started using it in the business world, which is great for me because it moves a lot faster. And I was losing my damn mind in academia after too many years. It's really important stuff, and it moves at the speed that it should move at, but it's not my set point, unfortunately. So glad I did it. Glad I found a different place to take that skill set. Yeah. As in, can they only drive on roadways? So no, they can drive wherever the hell they want. And in fact, all of these brown patches is recent driving on dirt. So by default, they drive on anything other than roadways. They won't even prioritize roadways. They may in the future. They've talked about this a little bit. This is also, I think, a step in this direction. The roads on the bridges, they are working on pathfinding for, I think, the ability to have those roads in the longer run. Now, if you want, you could put up a whole bunch of like vehicle barriers and sort of force them to only use roads, like only make roads available. I think that's a little bit more trouble than it's worth, but I do try to make sure that things are paved in the areas where they tend to go a lot. So it's pretty great. It's pretty good. King Crimson, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's super cool. Thank you. I appreciate everyone's support. It's been really cool the last month in particular, but really this whole last year, um, to see people like what we're doing. It's I don't know. It means a lot. It's one thing to have this dream in your head and to um, to even take the first steps towards it. But it's just awesome to not be screaming into the void, and to hear people be like, no, this is cool. This is fun. This is interesting. It's just really nice. I appreciate it. Everyone's been really kind and supportive, and I think hopefully genuinely interested too. So I'm glad we may be striking a chord, and yeah, it's very kind of you to support. I appreciate it. Thank you. Cool background, so true about the sciences, translating to business world. Yeah, it's oh, and I missed your hello from Spain. Good to see you, Zarnif. Yeah. Have you had a chance to drag the retaining walls and blueprints and stuff? Yes, we did a little bit with the retaining walls. And actually, let me show you what I'm thinking with the blueprints too in a second. Um, Yeah, and it's cool about science is translating to the business world. Yeah, it's a all of my scientist pals had no idea what the hell I was doing, but there are other people who have made that transition too. So it's not a well-worn path, but it's not a shocking path either, which is kind of fun. All right, so drag and drop. So click drag, very cool. Holding control and the scroll wheel, you can increase or decrease the spacing as well, which is very nice. And what this does is it makes, for example, this a much faster thing for me to build. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, great. And then I'm going to go over to the lift section, and I wish, because this is a 2-clicker, unfortunately you can't click and drag this. I'm trying, I cannot. You have to click once and then, confirm the height, right? That's how lifts work. But what you can do is say, well, all right, what I want on all of these is to have a 2-level lift and then a 3-level lift. You can copy and then paste, click and drag, right? Now we don't want to do it like that. We want the spacing, but same as we did with the machines. Bam, there you go, same spacing. So it makes, I think, setting something up like this a lot faster. The other thing you can do, and I'm trying to think, I don't have a convenient blueprint necessarily, but we can make one here. I have to try this live, this may not work, but you can actually, I think, get these to auto connect a little bit. That's the hope. I actually haven't played around with this so much, but yeah, not quite. But it seems like if you had it set up so that it was truly tileable. So I wonder if maybe if I just did like this. Nope, that won't do it. Come on back. I think I probably just grabbed the wrong end. So if we took the 2 in the middle, for example, let's try that. And then you can call this a blueprint or just copy paste, whatever. But if you do it like this, do they connect? Damn, no they don't. I guess it wasn't the full width. Anyway, you can see the point, right? Like they suddenly, like building and scaling becomes so much easier. It's, I think, really, really quite good quality of life, and I can't wait to polish my implementation of it. But it changes the way I make blueprints, right? I used to make these sort of like inclusive all-in-one, but now it's like, I don't know, maybe I should be making just the single basic one, and then you click and drag as many as you need and it's automatically connected, right? So maybe there's a single blueprint that is these storages and the connections that get you all the way up to this line, and then the other blueprint is this guy with all of his setup, and then just click and drag as many as you need. I don't know, it changes the way I think about blueprints, which is cool. And blueprinting has actually been kind of helpful for me to do. I didn't release blueprints in previous playthroughs because I just never really used the system myself. I tend to build a lot of things bespoke, but having used it more this time, I've come to really appreciate its value, and I think I'm going to be using them even more with this drag and drop system too. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. A little late to the party what's been shown so far. Yeah, so we did the drag and drop. We talked a bit about train networks. We're not going to install a new one this stream, unfortunately. We did show off some of the billboards. I will simply leave you with this as our explanation, but it's all very good stuff. There's been a ton of other quality of life stuff. Oh, my other favorite thing. So as someone who operates a camera a lot and probably, unfortunately, gives people some motion sickness with how compulsively I change perspectives and whatnot. Normally, you used to only be able to zoom in and out. Now, you can zoom to where the cursor is. So instead of having to go down and then over, and I would try to go down and over at the same time, you can just go, oh, you know what? Let's go over here for a second. Small things, but I think I'm pretty pleased with that one too. There's like a million little things like that. The patch notes are great. Love that. Love it. Ever played Transport Fever? Yeah, I have. I think I played a decent amount of Transport Fever 2. I liked the multimodal nature of it. I mean, being able to go from like horse-drawn wagons all the way up to airplane travel, like not many games do that. I will say it kind of felt samey after a certain time. Like it's the growth loop just continues infinitely, and it doesn't feel like I'm making like real progress necessarily. So I would play it for a while, but start over a bunch and never really take a single playthrough particularly deep. It might be the sort of thing where I need to go back and give it another shot and more properly dive into it. But I felt like the loop itself didn't hook me as tightly as I wanted it to. But it has so much, like there's a lot about it that's like super unique that you can't find elsewhere. So I know 3 is coming out soon. Sugarcane, nice. Soon, I don't know how soon, but it's at least announced. Um, and I'm certain that I will end up grabbing it and giving it a shot too. So yeah, that's another one that I could see being on the channel at some point too. Assuming King Crimson has earned cargo ship naming rights. That's a damn good point. King Crimson, pick your ship. Do you want the oil ship or the slag for sludge ship? I will not judge you if you have a preference over the other, but let me know and we'll get at the USS King Crimson, I guess. Right? Take your pick. And great call. Thanks, Feudal. Get you on TF2. Improved a bit with 3 on the horizon. It should hopefully be more interesting. Thought they were adding quest-like gameplay. That's good. That's because, yeah, it's exactly what I felt like was missing. Fantastic. I love that. Sludge ship? Sludge ship it is. Hell yeah. So here's a question. Are we USS? Are we HMS? Are we SCS? The St. Charles Service? Is that? I think that's it. SCS King Crimson. Oop. There we go. I think that works. SCS. Yes. Brilliant. Love it. Thanks again. I really appreciate that. And great push. Great call out on the naming rights. Hell yeah. It's brilliant because we're going to have a bunch of cargo ships too. We definitely got to do that. We definitely got to do that. Love it. All right. What the hell are we doing? Let's see. How are we doing on our... Oh my God. What did I do? Lost my sensitivity there for a second. We are making some progress over here. I'm being honest, it's not as quick as I would like it to be. So I could turn up the game speed as well. But the other thing we should probably be doing on a terraforming front is getting up here, and I wanted to make a bit more headway in this area specifically, because I'm thinking about if we do scale up a few more of these contract ships, it would be good to actually clear out some of this zone so that we could have trains come in and drop stuff off. If we're going to be running this volume of slag, I don't want to be doing it truckload by truckload, but there's not room to run a train right now. So what we're going to do, we're going to grab, I don't know, 5 more excavators, and we'll set them up over here. I don't want to sludgy McSludge ship. I don't want to like spin up new contracts and stuff. I want to save that for, you know, when we get back to the edited videos. But I do think it would be good to sort of tee it all up so that we're able to sort of make quick progress, hit the ground running on those when we film that next. So that is my philosophy for the stream. Hopefully that is still compelling. Oh my God, we're going to start piling up extra electronics too here, aren't we? Well, is what it is. I don't have to worry about it. Let's get back out here. Great, good. This is the last settlement. I think this is the last settlement. I haven't been keeping track, but there are a couple contracts, at least one that I wish we had that I haven't seen. The sulfur for coal contract would be lovely in a moment where we are burning, oh my God, like 5, 6 sulfur per minute. Wouldn't it be great to just be getting 5, 6 coal per minute instead? So fingers crossed that's what that settlement has. And we should probably start thinking about donating to some of these other ones as well. Very good. That's what SMS stands for. You gonna try to edit in the stream into the edited series, or we'll continue post-stream? I think we'll probably continue a post-stream. My thought, and we might clip some stuff if it's helpful, but I want to do like a recap. So I want the next episode to basically be something that you can view seamlessly from the previous one without having seen a second of this stream. I'm not going to like mash this up, I don't think, into a full-length video itself. But if there's like, if I'm giving a quick recap and I want to explain something, I might take a clip from this stream to make that more clear or whatever. I'll have to sit down and actually see what it is that we get through before I think about what we have to recap, etc. But yeah, that's the guiding principle, so to speak, is I want people who didn't see a moment of this stream, either live or VOD, to still be able to keep up in the playthrough. Different strokes for different folks, right? I know not everyone's into the live thing, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine. I like it. I'm glad other people some other people seem to be liking it, and that's great. But I just want to be, inclusive and fair to everyone who's been putting their attention into following along. So that's the thought. So our heavy oil is starting to back up. This is good. We set up cracking a couple episodes ago. And nuts. It requires more hydrogen than we have. So we are going to start backing up here. Not right yet, but in a moment, if we aren't careful. I think what we might do is at least switch over to prioritize heavy if we aren't already. Oh, we are already. So we're going to have to do something about the hydrogen. Interesting. All right, well, I guess what I'll say is trucks can at least keep this full under, call it 100. Perfect. This is what we are hopefully using some of this excess for. Yep, there we go. So this contract serves its purpose. Brilliant. Happy to see that. And who has mixed cargo? What are you mixed? Sand. Oh, we're starting to catch some excess sand here. That's interesting. And not a problem. What we can do is say you may also send it here. Are you really sending everything you have out that way? That's not great. Well, we'll let him use this one then. Let's see. Been great to chat with you. Something more creators should do. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's this is what's compelling to me about the whole thing. I wanted to try to build a community and to connect with people and share the joy that games bring us with each other, right? Like that's fun. So this is a huge part of why I wanted to start this in the first place. So I appreciate it. It's been great on my end as well. My pronouns. He, him. I use we because this is sort of I'm sure I've been confusing people with this, so I apologize. It's the same sort of guiding principle of like I want this to be a community. I think of myself as I don't know, I guess the driver of the bus, but like this is nothing without all of y'all and without all of the viewership. So if I'm expressing my personal preference about how I tend to build these things, I use I. When I say we, it's like, oh, well, last time we did this, or thank you for being a part of what we are building, right? That is like an attempt to, I guess, say or acknowledge or celebrate that it's not just me. Like this isn't just me shouting into the void or in the vacuum, and it doesn't happen without others. So I, if it's my personal preference, we, if it's talking about what we collectively on this run have done. Does that make sense? Hope that's worth the confusion. It is in my head, but that's because I'm not confused by it. So I understand if that trade-off isn't for everyone else. If the community ever needs a dedicated server for a hosted game, let me know. Oh, right on. If ever delve into other games that do support it. Yeah. Oh, much appreciated. Yeah, I've done that with like a multiplayer Satisfactory, and it's a blast. Just sort of be able to come and go as you like. That's cool. You have is that like something you run on your own time as well, or the royal we? Yes, yeah. But that implies nobility on my part that I'm not quite sure is fair. All right, there's the settlement, and yes, there it is. Sulfur for coal. Very exciting. All right, so that's going to require at least some level of reputation. Let's get the first one started and take a peek here. So, where is it? I'm so excited. There we go. It's 1-to-1. Look at this. It's 1-to-1. It's tremendous. I guess it's just sort of bad luck that we hadn't found it yet, but this is such a better thing to do with excess sulfur. Not only do you like not burn it and light it on fire constantly, polluting, you actually get something in return for it. And the something that you get is a thing that is, I think, most valuable around this point in the game. And this is the point in the game where you end up with the most excess sulfur in my experience too. So it's a really nicely time-dependent contract, and we're partway through the time of the game when it's most valuable. So I was bummed that we haven't had a chance to use it yet. Very good. And, oh, forgot to press load ship. Thank you. Run your own personal hardware server. Nice. Oh, that's cool. Very cool. Host games like Satisfactory, Factorio, etc. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yep, sounds like exactly the right fit then. That's brilliant. Yeah, I was trying to remember. It was like a personal, this was before I was on YouTube. I put something together for a handful of friends when we got into Satisfactory right before, was it update 8 maybe? I think is when we finally noticed it. I was like, oh my god, how has this game been out? And I haven't noticed. And we got into it pretty hardcore, but it's hard to find like time when 4+ friends in their 30s are all actually free at the same time. So we're like, all right, we got to have something where people can kind of come and go as they please. So that was a very helpful use case for us for a while. Yeah. Cool. All right, so I think we've probably accumulated a pile of excavators. Let's get them over here. How many did we get? All 5 of them. Great. So we should probably be adding extra trucks, but we have enough idle right now. If this starts to be an issue, we'll add more. But what I'd like to do over here is let's use this same tower. Maybe just redraw his zone. And actually, we're going to have to anyway. Yeah. So let's draw here and go to there. Ryan, thank you. I really appreciate that. Don't usually send super chats, but wanted you to know how much you appreciate what we're doing. Gotta go now, but hope able to catch you next Friday. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you tuning in and for the donation. It's incredibly kind of you. Thank you. And good luck, enjoy, and we'll see you next time for sure. Half a ship? No, of course not. Ryan, you get the SCS. I think you get the refinery ship. Is that right? Do you want it? Let me know if you want it. It's yours if you do. Okay, and then I need to set up some mining designations. How many half ships? I don't want it to scale with people's generosity. That feels like a slippery slope. It's not a criticism. Let's see. Let's get maybe this section mined. Let's start there. Just saw your video where you mentioned streaming and checked, and actually I'm streaming. Oh my god, incredible timing. Well done. Well done. Way to follow up on the instinct. You never know, right? Very good. That's very funny. Welcome, welcome, my friends. And I guess I mentioned each of the last 2 videos. Was that the most recent one? Presumably. Do some more paving. What I usually do, yeah, here's what it is. I need to set an alarm anytime this is full so I notice it, because that means we should be paving. Otherwise, we're missing the ability to be producing some concrete. So let's keep going in this direction. Been meaning to do the refinery for ages. I think the thing I keep using as an excuse not to is that this waterfront is awkward, but I'm not going to come over and fill it in anytime soon, so I think we just need to bite the bullet here. Maybe it's something like this. Yeah, let's do that. Sure. And here too. Oh, you know what? We're gonna fill this all in. Just go, right? Very good, very good. The 4.1 update really cranked my logistics into overdrive. Now constant hauling of rock and dirt based on demand makes terraforming so much better. Nice, good, yes, 100%, 100%. Yeah, I'm like kind of surprised somehow still. They're always very good like this, but I'm kind of surprised how big and meaningful of a step 4.1 is so quickly after 4.0's launch. Like, that's wild. And by the way, 4.1 is not the first thing that they've put out since 4.0 either. Like they had some updates that were, at least one that I can think of that was super helpful, where they fixed the they fixed the pillars that we've been asking for some time, and they just like quietly snuck that in there. Like they just keep just sneaking good stuff in. I'm very impressed by them. I think they do a lot of really good work. Maybe we'll leave this for now. I haven't decided what we want to do in longer term. This is like an awkward path. It's not pavable because the slope is silly. But I don't know if I need to force it on the landscape. Haven't decided. Appreciate that. I'm sure someone can think of something more clever to name it. Well, if you're going to pass along your donation rights, I certainly understand and appreciate that, but we'll see if we can come up with something clever on your behalf and in your honor then. Thanks again, mate. Have a good one and enjoy the rest of the VOD later. Where's the dirt going? The dirt is currently going over here just to finish off aesthetically this last layer on this area that we have been building out. So one of the things I'm doing, this has tripped up a few people in our Discord. When you do this single layer issue here, you have to make sure they can't just hop down a layer. There has to be a ramp. And so at all times, I'm making sure that we continue to add a ramp so that there is a way to access this area. So you can see if you grab the logistics overlay here, that hard drop creates a cliff that is not navigable. So you always need a ramp to get down. If you're having truck can't reach whatever job it's trying to do errors, first thing I would check every time. But we can keep dumping in this area. And actually what we can do with this zone specifically, we'll do the combined mining and dumping designation, because no matter what, we can only dump dirt. Whether you have mined it here or not, this zone only allows dirt to be dumped. What map is this? Yeah, Shattered Isles. This is the new update 4 map that they created specifically, I think, to force you or encourage you to take advantage of bridges. It's exactly what you would design if you were trying to come up with a map to make people use a lot of bridges. It's an archipelago. Yeah, I like it. It's a cool map. I think I would like it even without the bridges. I will say my one it's not a criticism of the map at all, but I was kind of looking forward to actually doing a Curland playthrough before they announced the new map, because I don't know, I like that map and it finally felt like, oh, brilliant, that's exactly the one that you would use a bunch of bridges on because of the awkward shape and all the water. And well, yeah, you know, I guess I'll have to find another opportunity, but we weren't gonna not play on this map, so what can you do? Good problem to have, for sure. But I like it. It's a cool map. It's a cool map. It feels like it has biomes almost, you know? Different areas that have different natural predispositions for you to build, I guess. It's kind of cool. Oh, and we do have some busy trucks. Maybe we'll throw in... I think we're going to throw in 5 amphibious and 5 normal. That's what we're going to do. Ever play on custom maps? I haven't. I'm not opposed to. But I haven't really gotten into. I know there's some relatively popular ones that folks like. I think that's a totally valid and fun idea too. But I haven't done a playthrough on all of the ones that do exist. I don't know if that's a prereq, but there's a lot of good default ones too that I feel like I owe it to explore as well. Yeah. Do you have a favorite custom one that you like? Yeah, 470 is officially more than we can handle. 430 is like a tie. We could try, I suppose. Yeah, let's take a swing at it. I don't know if this will work, but why not? Oh, and I forgot to check. Is this... It's not enough. We need reputation 2 for that contract. So let's get that loaded into the shipyard so that when you get back, we can run that one too. How are we on paving? Everything that we suggested has been done? Not yet. Still working through the refinery. Very good. And, okay, the dirt is coming along, I suppose. It's coming along. Yeah, this is the throughput issue is here. I think what we need to do is just say, like, look, we need to keep this empty, and if we have to run some trucks temporarily, the long way across the bridge. Fine, let's just do that. I don't want to slow us down just because we have this cute little train. Let's use it to help, but the other issue is we only have one of these stations, so the load time's a little long. But I didn't leave enough space here. Yeah, it's all right. We're just being a little precious with our landfill is the issue, because I only want dirt to go one place on the entire map right now, and it's all the heck the way over here. More choose fix everything. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. What we should probably do... Suppose we could just make like a second train station. Let's just do that real quick, right? Let's just do that. So, is that lined up, roughly? Seems right. Connect here, here, and then let's just get... I guess we can even do it here too, right? Let's just say 4, right? If we're gonna do this, let's do it big. Nah, it's not enough room. I don't have to move this. It's not very important, but this should still be fine. And then we can run this all the way up to here. Do we think that'll work? That might not be enough space, huh? All right, let's adjust slightly. If we're gonna have it face this direction, we could just bring it down to here. There we go. And we could say 4 stations and lots of room this way. Surely that's enough, right? Oh, we are going to have to do the second row of tracks as well then. This is starting to get into some of the revamp that I had hoped to save for the next episode. But what we can do, I suppose, is at least this part, create a bit of a pass-through area for the trains to go by each other, at least. And there we go. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll add another bucket here once this one's done. Yeah, let's see how it works. I don't want to take the fun away and do all of the train revamp right here, even though I feel it in my bones that we need to, and I really want to. But I do want to save that larger bit of work for the next edited episode. So, how does your port progression look on the cusp of firing up nuclear power near the space terraformed at 8 ports that feel like a lot? Yeah, it's so we have 2 right now. I think we have plans for 3 more, basically immediately, if I'm thinking about it. And we could be doing more, for what it's worth. We absolutely could. Just to level set it, the current cargo ship taking our oil in is now officially just a backup. We're getting most of our oil out here. But we had been making pretty liberal use of the world oil rigs. We just set up a slag for sludge export here. We're going to do the same thing with rock and dirt for fuel gas, because landfill's not that big a deal now that we have bridges. The sulfur for coal one, I definitely want to get going soon as well. Probably put that in here or something. But we haven't built a strategy around contracts necessarily. I realized actually that we'd gotten pretty far in without doing them, and it's an important part of the game, I think, so we need to at least have some going. The other ones that I tend to appreciate, yeah, the vehicle parts too is a really solid one. You can, because you can export it for iron, obviously, quartz if you like, but there's one for oil around here somewhere. Also luxury or imported goods. Right, I'm not making that up. Isn't there a vehicle parts too for oil? There it is, here it is. It's like pretty good ratios, right? So what I plan to do in the longer run, or have done at least when I do a contract heavy run, is a vehicle parts 2 specific factory. And then you send that out to a bunch of different to a bunch of different contract cargo ships as well for the same reason. But yeah, generally we haven't done too much ports. I'm excited to do more. That's really what I think this corner is going to be for us, is a sort of a shipping and rail interface area. It's one of the reasons I want to chip away at this mountain a bit here, for sure. Still going to use train lines or logistics system. So here, just for the dirt, oh, I should build a damn train to use, huh? I think we'll just use the original like logic. I just want to save it for the video. It's definitely, I love this function too, quality of life. Just clicking in the scroll wheel. Look at that. We probably shouldn't do 6 though. The bridge shuttle, that works. We will definitely, in the longer run, set up a network that has essentially a bunch of different pickup whatever landfill bit and then bring it here. Set of logics. It's one of the reasons I want to prepare this area, is that I think the network will make a lot more intuitive sense for folks if we're going to say, well, coming from anywhere, we want to drop off any of our excess waste products. Like, that's the definition of the network. That's easy to wrap your head around. And then you can see, I think, well, you just set up whatever stations you need that get thrown into the network wherever they are, decommission them when they no longer matter, etc., etc. So that's longer run the plan, but for now, we're just dropping the dirt there. I can't fit it in over here yet. We don't have the dirt contract spun up, etc. So short-term answer, old school setup. Long-term answer, absolutely a network. Yeah. Ravka at 457. Oh my gosh. Hello, hello. Have a good day, I guess, is upcoming for you. Australia, mate. Well done. Well done. I'm very impressed you're here, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. That's awesome. That's awesome. The reason for focusing dumping dirt near the port is very nearly purely aesthetic. So what we've been doing in this area, the one area I do want to expand some land. I know I was just saying that landfill's not that important anymore, but what I do want to do is have a nice, tidy land area out this way for a bunch of ports, cargo ships, etc. And so the dirt top layer is purely aesthetic. So I want to make sure that we're topping it all off here with dirt while we have it. So it's definitely trying a little bit too hard. It's definitely not entirely necessary, but that's why we're doing it. Yep. Bunch of red alerts all of a sudden. Yeah, good point. Why are we struggling on fuel? Oh, he's just stranded. You dummy. Get yourself stuck out here. You dumped a pile of dirt and then got stuck on top of it? Is that what happened? Jeez. All right. The other thing we should check, though, because we did say we were backing up on heavy here. If we didn't, we did get, all right, good. Our hydrogen is going, which means that our cracking is hopefully, yeah, good. All right, so we're not truly backed up on heavy oil. We just have the alert here that means that overflow is happening. And this system we set up to send overflow out this way to get cracked. So as long as this isn't full on it, we're set on the refinery. This means we are out of mining over here. Great. Progress made on the dirt. Great. So that seems to have helped a lot. So the other thing we can do, especially if dirt is being a problem right now, is focus on the rock side of this equation, because we do have plenty of that needs worked as well. It all has to happen eventually, but if dirt is a problem right now, until it's caught up, and oh my gosh, I forgot to build all of this, until it's caught up, let's go pivot to some of the rock work that still needs done. And rock, I don't mind if we just throw into the ocean over here. So we don't need to send that halfway across the planet. Very good. You have a blueprint for a crude vehicle part 2 factory to a cargo ship because you're running out of iron ore. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's cool? Iron ore is probably the single most important ore for me to try to replace once I run out of mines or whatever. But if you chain it together, the iron ore that you bring in can then be re-exported. There's a cost to that, just to maintain it. But it can be re-exported 1-to-1 for bauxite and for limestone and for copper in here somewhere, I think. Yeah, there it is. So you can use that vehicle parts not just to get iron ore, but to get several other ores at, again, a pretty good ratio, right? 171 for 240. Obviously, this is, contains a pretty good amount of iron ore in it, but it's still profitable. So chaining together contracts can also be quite powerful. Quite powerful. I was thinking, and I've mentioned this a couple times, I think, but in the, when this playthrough does wrap, and like I said, I don't see it happening anytime soon, but the next Captain of Industry playthrough that we would probably do, in the same way that the Corn Rocket one was a bit more advanced, intermediate, fast pace, silly, see if we can not quite break the game, but like do something outside of what, the typical bounds of the game would suggest. I want to do something like that as a sort of an analogous, update 4 comparison. And I was thinking about, as far as like challenge run concepts go, doing something that's like all the contracts. Because part of the Corn Rocket thing was no contracts, because that would make the whole no oil refining thing pretty much not an issue if you could use contracts to fix a lot of that. But then, I made this complaint. I said that I was like, oh, well, contracts are so powerful. I haven't shown that. I haven't demonstrated that. I haven't made my point. It could be kind of fun to do like a Dragon Tail insane start island that you never build the land bridge. You can expand the island, but you basically just contracts as much as you can. Make your entire economy contract base. I don't know. Something like that. I haven't really fully decided yet, but I think that could be kind of fun. Do some sort of like tall trading empire thing. Tiny island, all contract, no bridges. Yeah, exactly. At first thought it'd be for farming. Yeah, no, on the dirt, right? Yeah, the good news is in this playthrough we aren't really crushing the dirt so much. We are definitely consuming some for organic fertilizer over here, but it's optional. If we don't have organic fertilizer, we can still make our fertilizer, and there's enough arable land available. But in our corn playthrough, where we had, I don't know, like 60 farms, I kind of forget. We treated dirt like it was gold, and we piled it up to make sure that none of it was wasted, and definitely didn't spend it on something so frivolous as an aesthetic top layer. Did you do this again? God damn, man, come on. But yeah, it's here it's purely aesthetic. It's purely aesthetic. Quick question for the train tracks by the farms. Why didn't you opt for elevated? Yeah, so I've gotten this question a lot, which, just to be super clear, like, there's a reason for that. It's a very valid thing to go up and over instead of running our pipes and belts up and over. So my answer here is that I prefer to build my pipes and belts around my tracks rather than my tracks around my pipes and belts. Tracks are less flexible and more permanent. It's pretty likely, specifically at this area, but also just in general, that I'm going to redo pipes more likely than it is that I would redo tracks, right? Especially this long straight path. Sorry, still getting used to the new camera mechanics. So, you could do elevated, and I also mentioned I think we will eventually do like an elevated bypass. If you're not going to make any of these stops in this area, you can just kind of go all the way through elevated. But I'm anticipating from this to have a whole bunch of different spurs, right? This is the first of many, and that's a lot easier to do at ground level, and rather than having to do like a whole bunch of ascent and descent approaches into a train station here, right? So I would rather build around the tracks than to build the tracks around the factory, even if that means reevaluating the factory in some places. Here specifically, I mentioned this too, I don't think this is where our long-term food setup goes. We're not in a rush to get rid of this and relocate it, but I'm not convinced it is the permanent home for this operation. It certainly isn't going to be the final scale of it. So, what are some of your pop goals for intermediate progression? How many when you transition to hydrogen or launch a rocket or start slinging asteroids? This is a good question. The answer, of course, is always it depends, and that is a deeply unsatisfying one. But I tend to play pretty lean, I get the impression. I generally I generally think I end up on the lower end, but these are still helpful benchmarks, I think. So I'm trying to remember on our Update 3 playthrough, it was about the year 1000 and when we started slamming asteroids. And I think at that point we had, I want to say like 10,000 maybe? Here, you know what we can do? I'm not going to actually load it, I don't think, but was it here? Yeah, how many people are 9,200? So we had 9,200 in roughly the year, well, exactly the year 2000, at the very end of our Update 3 playthrough, where we had just crashed our first asteroid, and that's where we called it quits. Our corn playthrough, we got to just short of 5K, also roughly the year 1000, yeah, if I remember correctly. We launched the rocket earlier than this. I want to say that was at around 3,000 pop. Can't remember exactly. But that, you know, this is, we're at what, 2K right now? We could beeline rockets if we wanted to. We're not going to. It really depends on how you're building, obviously. So there's, you know, a wide range in error bars and all of that. But hopefully that's at least the data points I can give you. Generally speaking, I don't know if I've ever built a base that goes above 10K. It's not that you can't, of course it's easy, you just keep scaling, but I just kind of lose interest and want to try something different after a certain point. But you know, if we do end up doing sort of the scale that we've talked about today, eventually, we'll definitely go above 10K. No question. No question at all. I was kind of toying with the idea of, you know, as we're also talking about, like, where does the settlement go long term? I think, so someone asked recently about, do you do one big city or a lot of little cities? And the answer has always been one big city in my head. Because otherwise you have to duplicate all of these drop-offs lots of different places. You have to have a new like sanitary setup for everything. You have to have all the things. But who cares, right? That doesn't matter, especially if we were, for example, going to be taking via train and via train network all of the like household goods and household appliances and stuff. Like it's one thing to have to build this production a million times. It's another thing to just have to build one of these every single setup. So one of the answers could be, yes, we could do farming and a settlement out this way. We could also just do farming out this way and lots of little settlements supplied by train, which could be kind of fun. I mean, if our production are going to be distributed, it would be neat if our population was too. So anyway, haven't fully decided, but that is something that's also been on my mind. Yeah. Also, one tile between bidirectional tracks. Do you need that space or aesthetic? I do not believe that you really need the space. I, yeah, I don't know. I think you definitely don't, I guess, if there's, you know, if the bridge works like that. I think I had gotten used to doing it like this because maybe back in the day I thought you needed the space. At any rate, there's like a single one tile spacer here that fits nicely. It's purely aesthetic at this point. I do not think it is optimal either. It's just kind of, well, I've been doing it that way, so I'm doing it by muscle memory now. Not something necessarily to copy or emulate, but that is the answer, sadly. Office supply trains. Yeah, right? Could be kind of fun. Could be kind of fun. Let's see. Could you possibly build a small bridge over the spur to the refinery to allow more direct traffic? Yeah, so what we would do in order to essentially to avoid interrupting this road, we'd have to gain altitude, elevation, and then cut across. You cannot, and this is just a limitation of the trains as they currently exist, you cannot both gain altitude and turn in the same segment. You have to gain your altitude and then turn, or turn and then gain your altitude. And so what it means, in order to get up and over like this, especially since we're in tight like this, we'd have to somehow fit here, gain the elevation. You can see it's a little awkward, right? Gain the elevation, then come around. Like, it's obviously some of this stuff's in the way, but it requires a lot more space to actually make that operation happen. And for what it's worth, going uphill and downhill, like, or going uphill rather, there's a like a fuel power speed cost to the train. Now this is a steam train. It's the one that handles that best, so it's not a huge issue here, but just generally speaking, it's just tidier to do this at grade. It requires um, less extra intersection space. Like these tracks are always going to exist no matter what. This track is always going to exist no matter what. But if we do it like this, it's the minimum necessary additional tracks. And if we did it like gaining elevation here and then turning and then coming back down, it's much more. So this is what I mean when I say, like, you can do either, but because I find tracks less flexible, I tend to build around the tracks rather than build the tracks around other stuff. I hope that's helpful. You have some railroads in the moment that has a bend and goes up at the same time. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But if I try, well, here, so if I gain altitude here, see, like, I can gain altitude or I can turn. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong because that would mean there's more flexibility in the system than I expected, but it is not something I've been able to make the system do. That is one other thing that I think, you know, it could be a little bit more intuitive. Track building is another complaint that I hear from folks a lot. And as you hear, like I do it a decent amount and I'm not going to speak like I know how to do it perfectly. So it's a system that requires you to invest in it a lot to understand how to make it do what you want it to do. It probably can do what you want it to do, but it's not always super easy and intuitive. I'm sure they'll work on that too, but yeah, is one complaint. But yeah, the train logistics update definitely opens up that smaller settlement playstyle. 100%, right? That's kind of like, I've been chewing on what does this network thing enable a bit more, and I think like that and this, you know, I wish I'd realized because I would put a train station where this road is now, but you know, we run a lot of like steel here, and it's totally doable to do that via a series of trucks, but it would be nice to do steel and electronics delivery. You know, you could do the same thing here, right? You could do the same thing here, yada, yada, yada. But those were more trouble than they were worth, it felt like, to set up one train for each or even one of these delivery loops, etc. It feels like that was the barrier to making that happen is a lot lower now, which is cool. I like that. You sent a screenshot on the Discord. Awesome. Thank you. I'll take a peek at that. I am curious. That would be cool. That would be good. Let me continue this designation, I suppose. How about a bridge for the vehicles? Yeah, so, and we can do that too. This is a good point, right? We can run the vehicles over top of the train tracks. And in fact, train tracks have a much lower clearance requirement than, for example, a mega vehicle is. So you can do this. This is one that takes a bit more space. So, for example, we could come over like this, right? I'm probably not doing the minimum necessary distance. There it is. At any rate, yeah, so we can go over. Oh my gosh. Come on now. So we could go over like so, more or less. Come on down. But you can see, and like I said, I'm doing this poorly, but you can see here even the elevation gains are kind of slopey, right? So if we wanted to do that here, I guess would be the better way to do this. But before we even do that, look at that, 1.6 steel, 1.6K steel, 1,000 concrete. If we're talking about, oh no, I stole my patterns. If we're talking about permanent infrastructure, I'm happy to spend that. But it's kind of a lot for essentially, well, the default answer is just a quick out and around, you know? It's totally possible. So now I'm just curious, what would this look like? Can we even get that kind of clearance here? It's just tight. I think this is the first spot we could actually build it, and yeah. At any rate, I would love to use bridges in tighter corridors. And we did talk earlier about like sort of using a like a trench approach as well. I won't I don't think we'll run trench, like the tracks in a trench in this area, because again, same thing as before, we do have to like bring them up out to go to the stations in this area, etc. The trench is an awesome way for a long term, or like a bypass. Same as like the elevated rail, right? It's the same function. But if you're going to be going from those things to stations at grade, it just gets real awkward anytime you have to introduce elevation in tight turns and all of that. I wish you could do stations elevated. That would be cool. Like if I could have the train stations themselves be elevated here and then run via lifts down into the storages and then have the whole train operate at elevation, hell yeah, I'd be here for that. And like that happened in some cities, at least in the Northeast. I know it happened in Philly. I've seen some of the old rails that are still around. So that would be neat. I would love to take advantage of verticality that way for sure. Looks like cable stayed does not have space for mega vehicles. Yeah, so no bridges have space for mega vehicles. You have to either assemble them or do some Unity teleporting nonsense to get them from one island to another. Yeah, elevated trains would be awesome. Seriously. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait till we get to mega vehicles. They are, and actually, one of my other complaints about trains, well, let's call it feedback about trains, at the end of our Update 3 playthrough was that they were too narrowly applicable. Like they weren't available as early as you'd want them to be. They are now. They've moved them forward. They fixed that pretty quickly, but they became obsolete again by the time mega vehicles were around. They just didn't have that much of an advantage throughput wise. Now with tier 2 trains, they super do. So I still like mega vehicles, and they're just absolute life changers when it comes to terraforming and mining throughput, frankly. But I do I do like that tier 2 trains actually are still better than mega vehicles now. Um, so I think I think it's a really good development. Mega vehicles parts shuttle. Yep, exactly, exactly. And that's another train network situation. You have a centralized production of vehicle parts, probably 2 and 3, right? And then you say, hey, anytime one of our distributed mega vehicle depots somewhere else needs a top off, bam, you send a supply train out. So I feel like the issue before, right, is that trains always make sense with sort of point to point, high volume uh, product transport. But when it starts to be point like one to many, like the way that you had to draw the lines before, it required more to be true. It couldn't address the long tail of things that your trucks have to do or had to do before. Now with the network set up, it's a lot easier to handle that, I think, which is pretty cool. Elevated trains could be a thing where they only take tier 1 so they're not OP. Yeah, I love that. Sort of like an urban shuttle limitation. You wouldn't have like the big chonky fella rattling through downtown. So I think that makes total sense. Yeah, that's a good, and look at that. You've got a great balanced trade-off. You've created an interesting decision for us to make. Well done, Shiny Shoes. Love that. Love that. What have I done here? I've ruined everything because I've allowed our rock. Oh, it's over here, right? Yeah, it's this. That's fine. Let's reject single product loads and make the miners who are full on rock just come out and dump it. That's when I find myself toggling a lot, the reject single product loads function. And it's helpful until it isn't, until it is again. Definitely a lot of back and forth there for me. Hey, we're nearly done with this paving stuff. That's good news. Because our truck network is pretty mad. How are our stats here? All right, so yeah, decent amount of clearing out all of this stuff. That's too bad. Ah, so be it. All right, let's take stock. How are we doing here? We've got like a bunch of orphan technologies sorted. That's pretty good. Look at all this. We'll actually implement these two next episode. But now we have a lot of other stuff that we can kind of come back and fill in along the way. Now we've got excess naphtha even. Brilliant, because that means we're saving on ethanol out here for plastic and presumably out here as well. Love it. Look at that, all the byproducts in the world. And we don't even really need to be spending too much of it on power. I think when we upgrade our power throughput next episode, and efficiency, actually, we should probably be able to burn down some of these extra ones. But the good news is this same cracking unit can take our overflow naphtha as well. So we can get rid of that alert too. Cool. Love that. Love that we built this cracking unit probably earlier than we needed to because I wanted to introduce it, and also, we figured we'd need it eventually. It's always nice when a plan comes together, huh? Do you plan to use terminus stations for the rail revamp? They work well with double track main lines. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. Terminus trains with like a sort of like a shuttle guy on the end, right? These, uh-oh, that's why he's still stuck there. Initially I used to build, like right when they came out, I built a lot of these, and because I like that, it's less of these big looping turnarounds. It's like tidier and cleaner, especially in these tight urban zones we've been talking about. And I think they changed this since, so I need to adapt and adjust my priors. But there was a trade-off, there was a cost, and I can't remember precisely what it was anymore. But essentially, having one engine on each end was less efficient than two engines on one end, and so you were making a trade-off there. But I think they've changed that now, as long as it's facing the right way, even maybe, I'm not sure. They are more viable. I think I'm still just updating my mental model. So I like these and the terminus station concept. So yeah, like in here, this grand central concept we'll do eventually, I'm sure. Like I could see a ton of terminus stations, and out here, right? This loop, by the way, this oil patch is not going to last hardly. Like it's already almost halfway done. It's only 50K. So this area will probably turn into a series of termini, plural of termini, where we have our single massive ore sorter, right? The big fella, this lad, probably comes over here, and then we run a whole series of train stations in parallel here, and everybody just hops back onto the bridge when they're loaded. So I think that's the plan. Yeah. Yeah, the big ore sorter is kind of a lot. I only really use it when we have lots of different ores at really high volumes. I actually prefer building like two, maybe even three of the small guys before I build one. Because it's 10x the throughput, and that's great, but you don't truly need it so much, and you can build five of these and still only break even on the worker savings. It's more power, it's about the same maintenance. I don't know. I feel like the jump between the small one and the big fella it's really large. It's a pretty big jump. But I think we'll use one here just because it's going to feed into a bunch of different stations in the same area, and we have a bunch of different products. So we'll find a use for it, right? Can have a very high throughput base with bidirectional trains. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what it is. Yeah, they removed the penalty for having an engine in the back, making double-headed trains much more interesting. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so that's the mental model that I still need to update. But we did start using them, right? That's the shape of our bridge shuttle line. And oh my God, no one has built all this stuff. No wonder. That's what Unity's for, I suppose. But yeah, stations are way nicer without the big loops, right? I agree. I completely agree. And the other complaint that I have about rail in this game still is you can't have crossings at anything other than a 90-degree angle to the grid, right? So what you're actually sort of forced to do, unless you have these big awkward segments where good luck building anything that still fits the grid, or totally cutting your trucks off from being able to cross over the tracks, unless you elevate them. You're right. It's just it's sort of awkward, and so what it means is that the whole point of, or maybe the best way is to build these like smallest possible curves, which means these tight right angles, which means slowing your trains down, but it's the way that you can keep your train network the most aligned with the grid. And there's no fixing that. There's no changing it. Like the grid is really part of the game, right? There's no, you can't put this on anything other than a 90-degree angle, right? It's just part of how it's going to have to be. And so if removing more loops is good in general, like then that makes bidirectional trains even more compelling, I think. So long way of saying yes, I like the terminus, and I'm very happy that they have they've changed that they changed that penalty for sure. When nuclear, assume soon? Yes, relatively. I think it's probably on the other side of the Electronics 2 Mega Factory build. Although I should probably do some like napkin math and figure out what the power draw of that factory is going to be. It might well be that we need nuclear in order to power the damn thing. I think we have enough headroom. Like we said, we're kind of backing up on oil products. We're probably very intermittently only firing the coal in moments. So we're probably okay on power. But I have a feeling power is going to be tight after that build spins up one way or another. So it'll probably be very soon after that, and probably in the same general area, I would guess. So nuclear not too far in the distance. And hello, Arekmac, sorry, apologies. Hello to you. Hello live. Yeah, this is so much fun. I had been building some live momentum until update 4 released, and then I went, oh man, this is like, I'm super drawn into this. I'm excited. I got to get this series off the ground, and I don't know, got distracted, had to prioritize, I guess is probably the right way to put it. So it's really fun to be back doing this again. More soon, more often, I think. That's what I'm hoping we can make happen. Where would we want to put nuclear? Yeah, so the biggest thing by volume is going to be the ore itself, and this is uranium ore. There is also uranium ore, saw some out here on this mountaintop. It's a bit less accessible. There's also a world mine here, or is this bauxite? That's bauxite. I swear I saw a uranium one around here somewhere. At any rate, there is one out on the map eventually, and you can also source it via contract eventually. Do we have that yet? I don't know. I think. Anyway, that's the biggest thing by volume, and so putting it near the source of the ore is, I think, the transport minimization version of things. That said, you compress the ore down into a really small amount of fuel, and in fact, maybe let's here. Do we not have it unlocked, and that's why it won't search? That's a bummer. Let's see. All right, that's how we have to back our way into it until things get unlocked, I guess. So the uranium rod itself, right? You only need 1.5 to make a ton of steam, because the nuclear just goes through a normal boiler process in the output. But this uranium rod, 2, if you kind of go back through the core product, this yellow cake, it's all the way back through like to 36. You compress down, I think it's essentially, is it 72 uranium ore goes into like 1.5 fuel. So you can do the ore processing locally and then send it, across the kingdom come. Who cares? Because it's such a small volume. If you do the compressive processing here, then it doesn't matter where you put the boiler itself. But if it's on site and we have the space, maybe we will just do it here. Let's see. Yeah. You want to watch the corn series? Only discovering now what kind of fun things you can make out of it. Yeah, yeah, it's a goofy one. It's a very fun silly one. But I think it's yeah, I think it can be helpful to sort of expand your horizons once you've got like that 101 under your belt, because we'll often say, oh, there's a certain way you should do this, and that's usually like well-intentioned advice that's like, yes, it's people generally tend to do it a certain way, because it's the easiest, most accessible, most powerful, whatever. But once you have enough experience under your belt to not have to worry about doing things perfectly. There's a whole wealth of um, very fun alternate paths to play, and I don't know, one of the goals I had with that series was to illustrate them because they're so much fun. They're so much fun. Thank you for the clear content. Make getting the game less intimidating. Oh, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. Um, that's exactly what we're aiming for. I love this game. I acknowledge it has a learning curve, but once you get to the other side of the learning curve, it's really excellent. And so just trying to lower that barrier to entry and make it more accessible for folks is, yeah, that's exactly the hope and the dream. So I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. Love the live format. Would also watch live play sessions to play along, then watch the edited content of the same live format as recap. Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so I've thought about this, and I think that would be a really fun format, and I want to try it eventually. What I'm worried about, doesn't mean it's a problem, but what I'm worried about is you see how distracted I get interacting with chat? I'm very happy to do it. It's not a problem. I do not make nearly the amount of progress as I would be doing if I were doing this myself. And it's not necessarily all about that, but it is the trade-off, right? And so if you want to make progress at some speed, this is not the fastest way for me to do it. But I do like that, and maybe that would be a fun way to do the more intermediate, advanced type of playthrough follow-up that we were talking about earlier, because who cares, right? The recaps are simpler because I cut out a lot more of the sort of more rote routine. Advanced players know how to set up steel. I don't need to walk through that. I can just show, hey, here's where we set up steel. So it doesn't require me to be to spend as much time working through it all. So maybe that's the right spot to try that format. I don't know. Let's find out. You are for the first time arriving at nuclear without death spiraling. Nice. That's a huge milestone. Like the first time you hit nuclear and feel like things are stable enough to get it up and running. That's huge. That should be, I hope that is a big confidence booster for you. It really ought to be. And it is a really fun build. It's one of the more complicated ones, but I think honestly, if you've got Electronics 2 under your belt, it's not much bigger than that. Not a much larger step up from Electronics 2, I mean. So you've got it. You've got it for sure. It is a really fun build. Like how I speak slowly and explain things clearly. It's very kind of you to say. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've been told that that is a thing that I do decently. I I grew up the only like STEM kid in a family full of humanists. Both of my parents were history majors or historians. So was my brother. My wife is a sociologist by training, and so and actually most of my friends, even in high school, undergrad, all the way through, like my personal life has always been full of non-STEMmy people, and it's just sort of the way it's shaken out. And so I've had to explain what the hell I do all day at work along the way in non-technical language, and I feel like I've maybe gotten a decent amount of practice at that over time. That's my guess, but um, it's kind of you to say. I really appreciate that. It's hopefully some of the value that we're bringing to people, along with apparently the deep analysis, which I'm also very happy to hear because, yeah, I do wonder that I digress in rabbit holes sometimes. So when people not only tolerate it but like it and find it valuable, man, that's the coolest thing in the world. So it's great. We made a nuclear blueprint in 3, but never got to test it to its full extent. It's already teetering on the edge. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing with nuclear um, is that when things go off the rails, the stakes are much higher. It's oh my god, you're right. This guy is still here. What the hell is going on? Waiting for a free. Oh, because the exclusive zones. Oh my god. Yeah. All right. I officially am tired of not making this happen properly. Because this is all one big exclusive zone, isn't it? I'm over it. I'm over it. Maybe we'll just break it a different way by turning off all the exclusive zones. And this way, it'll give us a different error instead. And at least that'll be novel. There we go, right? Let's see. But yeah. Yeah. Hey, rabbit holes are fun. Yes, they are. That's true. That is exactly why I find myself down them so often. It's true. How do you make 12-degree slopes for trains? Ah, yeah, okay. So when you're making a track, when you want to gain elevation, see J here? If I say, all right, I want to gain 2 elevation, well, how quickly can I do it? If I toggle elevation, you can do 12% grade or up to 25% grade, right? So that's a toggle. The other two to keep in mind, so F, oops, that's G, which is the tech tree, by the way. F is the same thing, but for how tight of a turn you can do. And you can toggle here. This is your sharpest version. In red, your yellow is the slightly less, and then blue is like this. And I think what it means is blue is there is no slowdown for a train. Red is obviously the worst slowdown, and then yellow somewhere in the middle for how much a train has to slow to take the corner. Yeah. Really waiting for the massive electronics 2 build. Got a small set of progress, but need a massive revamping. What you need? Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I think actually, what I might do is stream creating the blueprint because it's gonna be huge. And there's going to be segments, and we're going to have to think about like logistics between like all of the copper production segment. We're going to have to send all that copper over to Electronics 1, and then Electronics 1 has to go over into like, PCBs and all. So I kind of feel like once this is open and we actually have a canvas, I'm going to sketch it and play around. So I might as well do that on camera and catch up with people. So I'll probably make that one of the nearer term streams here as well for sure. So kind of in the same boat, having to explain technical things in a non-technical way. Yeah, it's a really good skill set to have to develop, I think. It's like, it's just communication, I suppose, but it I think also helps you articulate what the core of something really is rather than getting caught up in the nuance of it. It helps you see the forest for the trees, so to speak, I guess, or at least that's been my experience. Yeah, I think it's a really good training that more of us technical people should have to actually formally have, right? Rather than fortunately accidentally get. Hi from France. Hello from France. Where in France? I'm going to be in France in a couple weeks. What is your job, brother? Greetings from Chile. Greetings from Philly. Philly to Chile. My job is creating Captain of Industry content these days. But I have been other things in my life. I was previously a scientist and a business strategist, I guess. It's probably the simplest way to say that afterwards. Done lots of different things. I have a very short attention span, professionally speaking, unfortunately. But I think I might have found something that I could hold on to for a while. We'll see. Max speed for curves is no slow on blue, 80 on yellow, and red on 40 on red. Perfect. Brilliant. That is exactly what I was hoping, or what I was trying to describe but needed the numbers for. Thank you. Big fan of trains. Haven't gotten to them in COI yet. Modulus has been taking your interest at the moment. I have been meaning to get to checking out Modulus. How you liking it? Absolutely love the fact that you're in constant fear of death spirals in the game. Yeah, it absolutely ups the stakes. It's a game that will punish you, and if you're a glutton for pain, that's perfect because I do think that having stakes helps you learn, right? When the first time that you get caught in like a maintenance death loop and everything dies, you probably learn to keep an eye on maintenance, out of the corner of your eye for the rest of forever. You do learn fast when there are consequences, for sure. Burgundy, very cool. I will be in Bordeaux. My wife is from Bordeaux. We'll be back for a sister's wedding later, yeah, in a couple weeks. Very cool. Burgundy is a cool region that I want to spend more time in. And greetings from Sydney. Shiny shoes. Very good. Oh, so you're up early too then, right? Have to be. I think Rafka, if you're still in here, you're from Australia too, right? Explain tech to non-tech while not appearing to talk down. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. It's a valuable skill set. Some have it naturally, some develop it. Absolutely. Yeah, I wish it were something that we collectively, I don't know, society, whatever, um, instituted more formally. I think that would be valuable for all of us. And these guys are stuck now. Exactly. We've gotten ourselves a new and different and interesting error. So maybe we'll, I don't know. Can we just force him to power through here? Probably not. Maybe. Not a long-term solution. We'll get a different problem next time. Very good. More stone roads to the city, please. We feel like peasants. Yes. You're right. Let's see. Where else should we be paving? That's a connection. We should pave. Oh, this entire factory needs paved. What are we doing? We have a dirt factory? Unbelievable. It's literally the concrete factory. How does it not have paving? Unbelievable. Actually, that's sort of an awkward route, isn't it? Just sort of looking if you wanted to go this way. To get to that, you have to go, yeah, we're going to slap a nice little ramp. Let's just make sure it's lined up. There we go. Really important stuff. Yep, getting ready for work. Yeah. Good luck. Cheers. Wait, hang on. Is it Saturday there? Oh my god, I hate time zones so much. I like to think I'm good at math, but I cannot do time zones. What's your view on the new train networks? I'm really excited for them. I think they make trains work for a whole lot of tasks that they didn't make so much sense for before. I'm really excited. I also think it lowers the like mental burden of maintaining your own one by one train network too. So I think it's more powerful and better user experience potentially, and I'm really excited to get a feel for it. Yeah. Modulus is really fun, like coming up with efficient builds to make the shapes. God, I have a 7-hour session. Woo! Yeah. Another mark of a good game is when it makes time disappear, right? Like that's, I mean, it's a flow state, right? That's the thing, and that's incredible. I love that feeling, especially like when you are first discovering a game that does that for you. That's just awesome. Even if you play that game for 3,000 hours afterwards, that first period of like I'm so absorbed in learning how this works is always holds like a special place. It's pretty great. Maintenance turns this game into a horror genre. Uh-huh. Absolutely. I would rather be shooting giant spiders than troubleshooting maintenance issues under the gun, for sure. State buddies. All right, right on. So even nearby in Sydney. That's awesome. Very cool. Have a dirt road going to the steel factory that could use some paving. Yes, great. Good eye. Thank you, thank you. Keep calling those out. That is, yeah, we got to do that. You know what? Let's just do this whole segment. Yeah, next time, I think I've mentioned a couple times, we're going to redo this entire loop. This is going to be our steel export station here. Doesn't mean we shouldn't pave it, but just thinking about it. Yep, Saturday morning. Cheers. Cheers. Working on a Saturday and up at 5:30. Yeah, that's a tough one. You're doing the Lord's work, friend. Hope you have another day off to compensate. The looming finite nature of it that fills you with dread. Yeah, so that's one of the things, I don't know if this is exactly what you're talking about, but it's at least making me think of something else. One of the things that I like about this game compared to, say, Satisfactory, which is the game that I think I most spent other factory hours um, in that game, the resources are infinite. You know, if you have a mine that creates, you know, 6,000 or 600, excuse me, iron ore per minute, it does so for forever. And here, you're constantly juggling and trying to make sure, well, this deposit's gonna run out, and then I have to go get another one, and then in the longer term, I want to do that one. I feel like it keeps things fresh, right? Even with the same, like, let's just say you started the game with end game technology, there's still constant reaction and development, even if you don't have technology to develop. It's pretty cool. I like that. Normal mode should have no maintenance. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's something to that, and I think they've talked loosely about a like a teaching tutorial campaign type thing. Um, they've also made it very clear that they're not committing to that. But I think they at least understand why there might be a need for that. And in such a thing, I feel like introducing maintenance slowly and optionally would be would be a good thing to do. When you do the electronics 2 build, would it be beneficial or not to have a train move some of the materials from the main island to the other islands so the trucks don't have to travel as far? You mean like the construction parts and stuff? Because, yeah, I think so. So, one of the things that I'm thinking, particularly because we have islands and particularly because we have train networks now, is I would love to have sort of an outpost in each of these spots where it's like, okay, well, let's just keep a decent supply of construction parts on this island, all shipped in from our basic factory, because why reinvent the wheel? But same thing with, and we've already started to do this in small bits, but like, same thing with diesel. We should always have diesel out here so we can refuel easily. We should, always have, this is where we would send our mega vehicle parts 3 out here, right? Having sort of like a local stockpile, if nothing else, just like an island specific mall. Like I think that's going to make sense to do on every island really, but certainly our nearest by ones. I don't know that we're gonna have to like consume stuff, but all of the one-time build stuff I think definitely makes a lot of sense. Satisfactory is awesome. Have you tried Dice? I have not actually played DSP. I have seen it. It looks cool. It's also on the very long list of things that I really need to fire up and try for myself. But it looks kind of fun. Favorite IT professor's joke for tech support: talk down to customers, your experience an ID10T error, and I'll help you solve it. Nice. It's good. Uh, I'm glad I read it out loud, but it's it's good. I think you could probably get away with that with a number of people. I like maintenance, but think recycling should be a bigger part of the tech tree as well. Yeah, yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I'm the sort of person who's always, really, no matter what, at the maximum recycling possible edict. It's There could be a more satisfying way to interact with that. Totally. How many hours do I have in Captain of Industry? It's a good question. It's 4 digits. I haven't checked recently. It's probably a little less than 2,000, if I had to guess. Um, yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. Love the series though. Appreciate that. Thank you for saying. Other favorite, yeah, issue exists between keyboard and chair. Yep. Yeah. Yep. 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 User error. My wife does user experience research. God, idiot trains. I really just need to like pay attention and finally fix this. Um, there is a saying in user experience that there is no such thing as user error, which is to say, if your system is unapproachable, that is a flaw of the system. It has nothing to do with people being dumb. It's you not understanding that you're building your system for people. And I don't know if that's always true. I'm definitely also very frustrated by people who try to use the things I build sometimes, but it's, I think, a fair general point that you should build with your user in mind, not just what's interesting and compelling to you, the person building it. Build a product or a tool, not a hobby horse, or I don't know. Anyway, sort of something that also popped into my mind with that. Don't play DSP, it'll triple your subscriber count. We need you in COI. I appreciate that. Well, I don't think I'll ever let go of COI. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's true. I do think that Captain of Industry's difficulty probably uh, acts as a headwind um, for its player count. It's also, I mean, it's been in the ecosystem for a couple of years, but I felt like it was update 3 where it finally felt like, oh, this is this is a game, like capital G. This thing is very fun and very good now. Um, and that was less than a year ago, and it's come even a long way since then. I think when it hits 1.0, it's gonna pop. Now, what does that mean, relatively speaking? Let's see. We're all gonna find out. Um, but I think that well, it's not a hot take to say that a game's best days are in front of it. Um, Naturally, that's the case. But I do think that it will become more popular than it currently is, and strategically, it's one of the reasons I've kind of hitched the wagon of the channel a bit to it in certainly in recent times here. But I do think that there is work to be done, and I'm hoping to be a part of it to lower that barrier to entry for folks to help make it more accessible. It's clearly the headwind that it's dealing with, right? That'll be the thing that limits it if they can't find a good fix for it. Yeah. A software engineer and recently working on a simulation framework and had to balance preventing people from being able to do things they shouldn't versus just letting them do the thing. Yeah, it's human beings are such a pain in the ass, and when you're building something for human beings, that's yeah, that's what are you gonna do, right? Yeah. Satisfactory 1.2 also on the to playlist when it hits stable. Yeah, I agree. I was actually thinking, I don't know. We'll see where things are and when these things happen, but my working hypothesis for what I would play next after this playthrough wraps has been Satisfactory 1.2. Because that's another game where I have some hours in it and some thoughts and think I could potentially be helpful for folks, but it's also just really fun. I just really like it. So it'd be kind of be a blast to play it on the channel too. I don't know. What's the latest and greatest. I know it's been an experimental, but it's been experimental for ages, and they do experimental for longer, I think, than Captain of Industry tends to. So I don't know when it's actually going to pop off, but at least I'll probably start streaming it. I feel like that's a game that's better for streaming than Captain of Industry is. I don't know. It's so much easier to get distracted and for something to break while I'm hanging out with chat compared to Satisfactory. Worst thing in Satisfactory that's going to happen is I get jumped by a spider or something. Transport Fever 3? Yeah. When does that come out? It's relatively soon. I keep forgetting. I would probably fire that up once or twice too. Yeah. Update 3 did a lot for this game. Played on 1 or 2, no more than 20 hours. Thought I had potential then, and only with 3 did you get to 300 hours. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, it was playing Update 3 that convinced me actually to make it the first thing on the channel. And I had the idea for a while, but it was, I think, part of the momentum that helped me get across the finish line to, yeah, I should really actually do this. I should give it a shot. So it's it feels like that was a big step for sure. I had to take an entire class called Human Computer Interface, focused on how people interact with tech, everything from program workflow to number of color receptors in your eye. Oh my god, dude, you want to talk about rabbit holes? Human eye, like, structure, biologically speaking, is just the coolest thing in the world. How it interacts with your neuro system. Oh my god, I'm getting some very fun flashbacks right now. Yeah, very, very cool stuff, and important, of course, when we're talking about interacting with human beings. I have a buddy who did some, I guess it's very similar, probably just a different word for the same thing, but he's a mechanical engineer. He did his PhD in, it's called human factors, and he did a lot of the same work, like looking at like the intersection of technology and then the heterogeneity of human beings, like how something has to be designed to work for like everyone, and how difficult that is. It's pretty cool. Would you ever play Shapes? I have seen it. I'll be honest. I need to give it another shot, but it didn't hook me. I don't know. I think it's it's like a purist thing, and I can appreciate that. That's the vibe I got, at least. But I would play it. But if I'm being honest, it's not as far up the list as some of these other games. Open to being convinced, though. That's part of what I'm here to ask about for sure. Desynced, super interesting game. Don't think I've played that. And much appreciate on the Satisfactory dedicated server. That would be kind of fun. Like, even if we didn't end up playing a ton of it on the channel in like a full long form edited series, it could be kind of fun to have the community just like have a live server and just mess around in. Yeah, you know what? Let's put a pin in that. That could be kind of fun. Random node generation and weather. Yeah, that's the thing that's like, I just have so many hours in Satisfactory at this point that I have the map, like I can see it in my sleep, which is pretty deeply unhealthy, I'm sure, but the random generation just, oh, suddenly it's replayable, you know? And that's brilliant. To do something about this. This is actually going to cause us a problem, isn't it? Well, for now, the answer is more. You can just dump compost, by the way, if you're having this trouble at home. You do not have to turn it into something else. It can simply go into your global dumping designation, and it looks even very similar to dirt. It grows like a slightly brighter green grass. You can treat it the same. I'm gonna figure something else out. I don't know. Okay, so Transfer Fear does not have a release date yet. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of have it in my head that it's soon TM, and that's about as precise as I can be, unfortunately. Yeah, so Satisfactory is great for streaming. So just to clarify, um, I would find it hard to do the like dedicated progress type of thing that I try to do in the edited videos of Captain of Industry. I think it's great for streaming, actually. And I think it's a better fit for streaming than it is for edited videos, although you can obviously do both in both situations. So it could be a fun way to try that out. And yeah, especially if there's multiplayer, be very fun. Be very fun. Black dress or gold dress? Oh my God. I think I'm just going to sit here and be upset that I'm old enough to remember that reference, what that reference even is. I don't want to hear what year that's actually from, do I? I don't think I do. I don't think I do. You get me though. V1.0 for Shapes comes out next week. Part of what you're asking. Okay, right on. Yeah, I don't know. I Not every game is going to be for every person. There's nothing wrong with that. And some games I've given a second shot later and been like, oh wow, okay, actually I don't know what was going on. Maybe the game got better. Maybe I just wasn't in the right spot for it. You know, I never want to talk down about a game, but I'll always try to give my opinion, at least at the time, of how it does or doesn't work for me. So, isn't there a contract for compost? Can you actually export compost? You know, I have most of these not quite memorized, but I don't recall there being one off the top of my head. Sludge and compost are different, right? Compost is a byproduct. There's a handful of sludge associated ones. You can import it for either sulfur or slag, but I don't believe there's one with compost. Could be wrong. Soon TM, 2 weeks. Yep. Yeah, and my table will be ready in just about a half an hour. It's about a half-hour wait for your table. We're delayed on the runway, be about half an hour. Soon TM. Yeah. Ever tried Soviet Republic? No, I haven't. Workers and Resources, right? That's the one that is probably most consistently recommended to me as a, oh, this game will kick your ass and it'll be fun. And that one I saw it was on sale recently, actually. It might even still be. I need to go ahead and pull the trigger on that just to lock in having it, if nothing else. But yeah, that looks fun. I'm excited about that. I heard that you have to like actually run power lines, because that's one thing that like the global nature of the power grid in COI is, I don't know that I would do it differently, but it is a choice. It is a choice in a game that is pretty realistic in a lot of other ways, or tries to be. It is interesting to me that they make power instantaneously, magically transported across the surface of the ground, I guess. I don't know. And that's I don't know if that's the biggest difference between that and Workers and Resources, but that is uh, the one that sticks in my head. So could be kind of fun. Yeah, agreed. I was actually with Shapes. Couldn't get it. Yeah, but two hooked you for a while. Yeah, it's yeah, there's some games, and like by the way, I don't know, even a $30 game, right? Like if I get 10 hours out of that at $3 an hour, that's a better entertainment rate than most other things I could do with that 30 bucks. And still I would sort of feel disappointed. And I don't think I'd feel wrong to be disappointed, right, for a 10-hour game that I had higher hopes for. Um, but it also just kind of reminds me like I should just get more games, I guess. I don't know, or like lower the bar rather. Um, oh my gosh, get out of here. But yeah, so have to run everything from water to sewage to electricity, all ending distribution stations. Wow, you kill off your pops really easy, so much as a single stupid footpath. Oh no. Oh God, that's like all I do is miss exactly one square tile of pipe here. All right, that sounds like it's gonna be rough for me, but hey, sounds like a fun stream actually to watch me crash. How many times do you think I'd have to restart if I played it for the first time on stream for, I don't know, 3 hours? Something tells me more than twice. 75% off though, yeah. Transport the workers to the factories and everything. Wow, okay. If you want to micromanage wattages, you dive into oxygen not included, where oversupplying power networks damages them. See, that's cool, right? That's how it's supposed to go. Um, yeah, like I like that. I like that a lot. Do not lower the bar. Also, yeah. Also, where is our maintenance statue set going? Ooh, okay. So I was thinking, and I already, I put it on here. Path to gold mine. I think I talked about, we're clearly not getting to it today, but one of the terraforming projects I'd like to get to eventually would be to get up to here so that we can actually mine the gold that's here. I was also thinking, well, we're going to be this close. Do you think we could create a little bit of a scenic overlook here? And do you think this would be a cool spot for the captain's office and or a statue? Something to consider. Something to consider. We could also do like a Statue of Liberty looking thing out here. We don't have to build a whole land bridge. With amphibious vehicles, we could just create like a little platform out here. We'd have to, make sure that we ran the fuel gas over constantly, but we could do a Statue of Liberty vibe. So I have some thoughts. I have made no final decisions, but weigh in, weigh in. If you play it on stream for the first time without any guidance immediately on realism, man, it's not gonna be a ton of hours. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that could be our Friday stream for probably 6 months before I figure it out, right? Will I be uploading the VOD? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, YouTube does a very good job of just like prompting, like, hey, here it is. It's already on our servers. Want to publish it? Yes. Yes, I do. You know what I wonder, and especially if I'm going to stream more, and I would like to, I see a lot of creators doing like a separate VOD channel. And I understand that like the rationale is that the algorithm treats these things a little bit differently. Some people want one, the other not. But it does feel like it's kind of maintaining parallel architecture. I don't know. Like, do you guys go watch the VOD specific stuff on a creator's channel, or do you not care? Is it basically the same as if it were all one? I kind of wonder if it's one of those things that people do just because it's what everyone does. I don't really know how meaningful the difference is and how the behavior changes. Just sort of curious. Captain's Peak Captain's Office on the Peak would be cool. Yeah, I kind of like it. I mean, the thing with the Captain's Office is who cares? It doesn't have to interact with anything else, right? So who cares if it's at the top here? So I feel like it'd be kind of fun. I feel like it'd be kind of fun. The new billboards are great. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. For island names, I was saying earlier, I kind of want to do like a welcome to St. Charles Island or whatever as you enter the as you come in on the bridge. Kind of fun. Feels like a great following the train intro to a video. You just sort of cruise on in here. I like it. Sort of thinking about the cinematics. And it's great for thumbnails for sure. Only if they stream exclusively on Twitch. I see. Yeah, okay. Otherwise, you just rewatch the live stream on YouTube. One for VOD channels. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. You can run pipelines over water now as you can fill to -4 and 5 and put pillars on that as a potential to the island statue. It's a good point. So if you do that to say here, that will keep the visual of the water being above it. It will keep ships, unfortunately, from being able to pass over it, because in a fever dream right after update 4 came out, I was like, oh my god, wait, what if? What if you could just fill to -5 or whatever here, run your pipeline from, or belt or whatever, from one island to the other, essentially create a land bridge underwater, right? But still have the water. And you can do that physically, but one, the pipe breaks even if you bury it underwater, and two, the ships can't go over it. But were you actually able to get the water, like a pipe to run under the water? I'm trying to remember now if I broke it that way or not. I remember trying something similar, but might not have been exactly that. One for VOD channels, two for same channel. Tend to watch either, very few you watch both. Tend to watch both when there's a lot of interaction on the edited stuff as well. Yeah, okay. On games where you want to see all the creative stuff, you go to the VODs. The edited videos bypass the thought process. Yeah, that makes sense. Mine certainly don't. I overshare, but in general, that makes no sense. And I do still skip over some stuff, I'm sure. Tends to go well when they're small, becomes less common later on. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, because I wonder, like, I don't know, the algorithm is quote unquote smarter than that, right? It should be able to figure it out. On top of the water, I see. So go up to level 5 on the pipe for a -0 to run the pipe directly out. I see. That makes sense. That makes sense. Happens after a certain number of subs, otherwise you split your audience. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was worried about, especially at our size. We're still small, so. What is one of the builds you're most proud of in COI? Oh my gosh. Um, you know what it is? It's the nice and tidy, tight, all-in-one manufacturing setup that we made for the Corn Rocket playthrough. Um, yeah, that took basically all of our it made everything that we needed in a manufacturing setup. It was the construction parts factory, but it wasn't just the construction parts factory. It was also merged together with, imagine these two setups right next to each other, also feeding into the vehicle parts stuff, and there's some steel in it, and the recycling loop is all integrated. It was just like one big block, call it like this large, that essentially took the entire manufacturing requirement all the way up through. We did aluminum separately, but like basically other than that, space flight stuff, concrete was a part of it. It was just like a really compact, super efficient, very like integrated into each other sort of situation. I didn't have like, oh, a storage here and a storage here because we have to transport. It just all flowed together. Yeah, I think that's probably the answer. But at different times, I might have given you a different one. Sometimes I look at this and I'm proud of it. Sometimes I look at it and I'm like, this is awful. So really depends on the day. But yeah, it's a fun question. I like that. It's a neat build. You like that as well. Thank you. Yeah. And it like, I don't know, I didn't set out to do it. It just kind of happened organically. That playthrough required us to play really lean because we couldn't afford anything because we were making all of our diesel out of freaking corn. So it forced us to play really tidy and efficient. So it was a good forcing function, but I do feel like, yeah, it was fun to make that work. Yeah. We need to allow pipes to be on the side of bridges. You see a lot at IRL. Yeah. Yeah. I I get it. I get both arguments. I think I would prefer if we could have maybe call it pipes but not belts connect, because I understand that they don't want to totally remove the need for a land bridge connection. They want to actually probably push you to use trains to go across the bridge, all this stuff. As a game design perspective, I think I get what they're going for. From a combination of realism and just enjoyment and entertainment perspective, I think I would prefer to have pipes. Oh my god, I would also prefer if these idiot trains, they're not idiot trains, I just haven't given the attention to actually solve their issue. But yeah, I think I would split the difference. I would say it'd be great if you could run pipes under, but not belts. I think that's where I land on that. That's a lot of Unity, so so that's water. Yep. Anytime I see like multiple Unity in the red all of a sudden, that's usually something is broken. Oh yeah, because I still haven't properly solved this compost issue. Wow, why is my sensitivity? I feel like I'm accidentally hitting some new hotkey for sensitivity. How interesting. Can't import it. Unclear. All right, well, let's get it out of here, please. Makes sense. Major pipelines transporting oil and gas, but not conveyors. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of like the pipeline idea. It's one of the things that I think I didn't used to do when I first started playing, but this unified water main, I mean, it's spaghetti and could be more aesthetic, but the idea of a unified water main is something I kind of had to grow into a little bit. Lots of big pipes, very different than lots of big belts, and I think maybe as an extension or overreaction to my general feeling that buses is not the best way, or at least not the way I prefer to play COI. I think I maybe extended that to pipes where it's not quite correct or fair. And again, as always, right, play the way you want to play, right? That's the most important part. But that's a lot of throughput. That's more than twice the throughput of our best belt right now. So, excuse me. Yeah, I've kind of come around on using more big long pipes because they're not quite the same as belts in a lot of ways. So I try not to use belts to connect a factory to another factory, but as you see, I will definitely do that with pipes. Shift, yeah, so I use the shift all the time, but I wasn't pressing it there, and I don't know if I like press something to toggle it, because I use the shift WSD all the time, and that's what it felt like I toggled somehow, turned it on without using it. If you shift tab, it locks the shift key. There it is, exactly. That is exactly, I think, what just happened. Yeah, okay, nice, thank you. That is helpful. Now I will hopefully not do it. Grown fond of your underground 16 pipes that go in loop. Yeah, and this is like, so part of the reason that I don't tend to bury my pipes is the flexibility of it, is that you have to change it. But if you never have to change it, it's pretty sweet. Like to just have, you know, connection underground that you never have to worry about. I don't know, maybe I just don't have the confidence that I'm never going to change my mind about how something's going to be laid out. Maybe the fun for me is just like kind of seeing how the whole thing evolves over time. I honestly don't know. But yeah, I like that it's in the game. I do wish they made it a little bit easier to do and or to troubleshoot, but yeah. Don't trust myself with underground pipes. Yeah, yes, that's exactly where I am. Yep. A one pipe space connection between them and an above ground connection. Yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool because like there's a way to do it with intentionality too. You could do like a, what do they call it, like a pig launcher, which is not what it sounds like if you don't know what it is. Unfortunately, it's a pipeline thing, a pipeline inspection gauge. They have these spots where they come up above ground. And in fact, actually, I'm probably telling an audience that is very familiar with Factorio, where I've seen it a ton of times. But you can have them pop up every once in a while, and you can build that like intentionally. Maybe you could even abstract it away. Maybe you don't actually have to physically have it under the ground, although that sort of undermines the whole thing that makes this game cool with the terrain. So I don't know, but there are ways to like actually support the idea of an underground pipeline in this game. And I hope they do that. If that ends up being the final state of underground pipes, I'll be a little disappointed. I think that's, yeah. I feel underground pipes should be a native game thing. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Fire a boiler over pipes. All right, let's take some stock. What have I been doing? 3:15 and my voice is getting scratchy. What all did we do? Just sort of take stock for the day. So I think we've done all of the 4.1 checkout stuff. We have gotten nowhere near as far on the site prep as I hoped we would, but we made some progress for sure. So we'll keep going on that, I suppose. We can say that it was something. It was helpful. And the deforestation is underway as well, so that's good. Fine. So I'll call these, let's say, in progress but progress made. Didn't do this at all. We started working on this. I wanted to tidy up some of the mining edges. By that I basically just mean like my first pass at most deposits is to just take everything down to ground level, and then I come back and I'll tidy up the edges. And I think we probably should do that here soon because it'll allow us to sort of reclaim this space. And this is up particularly against the edge here, but it's not the end of the world. We can do that here, also here, and in the sand area. Those are the spots that I was thinking about mentioning here, but we didn't do this at all. We did a ton of orphan techs, so that's good. Exploration, we've definitely done a pretty good amount of. These, I think we can say, significant progress. And I'll say we did a little bit here, but maybe not all the things that I was hoping we would. Still could, I suppose. We're going to end up doing a lot of, some of the, this is like, I hate this so much. This is the worst spot of cable management. I understand how we got here. It's the leftovers of having connected this where we did, but we're going to redo, as I said, this whole loop next episode anyway. So I don't feel like we should make this a cleaner version of a soon-to-be destroyed build. So I don't think we'll bother here. We got a couple good spots in there, though. And I do want to mention one thing before we sign off there, too, as well. Yeah. Have you picked an island for forestry? Yeah, so this is an interesting one. I kind of think it might just be here. Because most of what we need to do, not all of it, but most of what we need our wood to be consumed for is our construction parts plant. It's the predominant consumer. And so, you know, it doesn't mean we have to produce it here. Of course, we could ship it in via train, etc. But especially if we do end up removing our farms, this is a decent amount of arable land right here that I don't have other plans for. And it's right by the construction parts factory. So the answer might be it's where we already are. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. But I think what I'll definitely keep doing is chipping away, you know, for the free stuff on the islands that we're expecting we'll build in the future. But it's a good question. I don't know. I have such a love-hate relationship with supplying wood in this game. I don't know. Forestry is, this is the earliest I've ever set it up. I just felt like I couldn't responsibly do a beginner accessible playthrough and not show how to set up forestry. But for example, in our update 3 playthrough, I very irresponsibly claimed that it was a beginner accessible playthrough and didn't set up forestry all game. I just took all of our native trees, and then by the time we ran out of those, we just went straight to the household appliances to wood contract. It just takes up so much damn space, and it bothers me, but I need to get over that. So I think we'll probably end up doing, if I had to guess, and it's like, call it 50% best guess, I bet this area all turns into forestry, so maybe we'll clean up the ridge here, make that arable as well. Let's see. Let's see. You are going for the upper mountain iron. Is there a reason for that versus digging down the lower level? Yeah, so this is about relieving my anxiety, really more than anything else. So this is all absolutely accessible and better to do than this, 1000%. But the... Did you hear my cat? Yes. Yeah, he just woke up and wants food. Yeah, I have two of those, and they're both loud, but that's the louder one. But the idea here was essentially, when we run out of this, well, great, it's one big continuous deposit, right? Well, we'll just keep going through. There's a ton of rock on top of this section, and with something as critical as iron, the last thing in the world I want is to be churning through, what is that, 10, 15, 20% iron mountains, creating landslides, without any option to like also get a more pure area. So I wanted to make sure that we could at least come up and hit this capless rock, in case this ends up being the struggle that I worry it will be. I have the exact same concern about certain parts of this coal deposit as well, right around the edges. It just, these are the two most critical mines that you tend to have, and I really do not want to get caught off guard with that. And, as I mentioned, I do think we are eventually going to make our way up here for the gold and stuff anyway, so it was two-part, but if I'm being honest, it was primarily that, for sure, for sure. All right, so this feels like decent progress. I think what we're gonna do is maybe call it good enough for the day. Obviously, it's not complete. And that's fine. I had much more fun being distracted, interacting with folks. This isn't about productivity. So we've made some progress while hanging out. That's perfect. So maybe we'll try to do this a little bit more between episodes if that ends up being time we need to spend to get this all prepared, and it might well be. Maybe we'll sneak this up on y'all a couple times in the next couple of weeks. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, you mean like going down below ground level right next to the starting place? Yes. Yeah. So definitely we're going to. I don't know why I do this, but I usually, my first pass at a deposit is to just kind of like take the hat off of it and just flatten it, and then come in and do sort of the edge work and work our way through. So that's what I was referring to that I think we should probably get to here. is to start to go down to clean this up so we can reclaim this land. But yeah, I think one of the reasons I tend to do this, and I don't think it's optimal or anything, but it's just it makes things a little bit smoother for me. By definition, this is all pure. And so, especially towards the end when you're struggling to figure out, oh shoot, what's accessible, what's not? Well, there's no rock on this by definition. We took out everything off the top already. So this ends up being nice and pure, and it's nice to have that in reserve. Anyway, there's no optimal way to do any of it, I suppose, but that's the, I don't want to say rationale, but maybe the explanation for why I do what I do. Yeah. Thought that was your cat. Yeah. He's loud enough that he gets through the, like I have like a pretty decently strong sound suppressing pickup on the mic. If it's not my voice from a couple inches away, it's pretty good at like getting rid of background sounds, which is great because there's been friggin' construction outside of my window for the last month or so, and hopefully you didn't know that. But it's pretty good at cutting that out, and he screams so loud it doesn't matter. It's ridiculous. Half Siamese. First Siamese cats I've ever had, and they are apparently quite loud as a breed. All right, so here's one thing that I wanted to do before we totally call it here for the day. We already mentioned, and some folks already jumped on, it was very kind of them, the fact that we have just launched channel memberships. And that's super cool and exciting. I'm really excited about it. But I wanted to, I don't know, share some thoughts on, I guess, what they do and don't mean here for us and all of that. So I figure, actually, also one of the things I should do is there's a little spot, I guess, when you have your channel membership thing where you can give a quick little video intro about them. And I thought, well, shoot, while we're here, I could just follow a train, explain to you what I'm thinking, and then clip that and use it as the intro. So here's the thought. I'm going to read that real quick while we watch a train, and you guys get to see me do a YouTube. Let's give it a shot. All right, you ready? So here we go. I'm excited to share that we're launching Charles Circle channel memberships. What does and doesn't that mean? As you likely already know, memberships are an on-platform way to support the channel. Creators offer different tiers with different benefits for a couple bucks a month. You can sign up for and cancel at any time. YouTube takes 30%, but the rest goes directly to support the work that we're doing here. Now, different channels use memberships for different purposes. I have a specific vision I'm going to share here, and it's in no way a criticism of how others may do things, but I want to share some thoughts on what memberships are going to mean specifically here at Charles Circle. Philosophically, I never want to gate the core of what we do behind a paywall. I don't want to make series that are only available to members. I don't want people to have to choose between paying or waiting a few days before being allowed to watch, and I'm just generally uncomfortable with money acting as a barrier to inclusivity. That doesn't mean I'm anti-business, by the way. On the contrary, I really enjoy the business side of things. And if this is going to work out long term, I do need it to eventually pay my mortgage. But I'm going to build it the way that I want to build it. So what that means is, I view memberships purely as a tipping function and not a product. If you like what we're doing but can't support us right now, that's totally fine. And don't worry, nothing is going to change for you. Everything we do will still be available to you at the same time it's available to everyone else. If you like what we're building here and can support it, we greatly appreciate that, and to show our appreciation, we've got some shiny badges and custom emojis and such. And while I don't want anyone giving us money for something planned but not yet delivered, I'll be on the lookout for ways for us to show our appreciation in the future. 2 illustrative examples of that in case they're helpful. 1. I love streaming, and I want to do more of it again now that our Update 4 series is up off the ground. It's a blast to connect with everyone. So I'm planning to start soon a Free Play Friday series, where from time to time we try out a new game in a one-off stream together on a Friday afternoon. Here, I'd love for members to pick the game, but everyone can join in the fun. Members get a say in the creative direction, but it's not a members-only stream. Similarly, the other one I'd love to get off the ground soon is a Save My Save series, where community members can submit save files that they're having difficulty with, and I make a video on it sharing some teaching points and feedback and try to stabilize the death spiral. I'd give priority to save files submitted by channel members, but the video would be available to everyone. So, as I said, I can't claim to offer those as perks until we've got an actual series to reference there, but hopefully that's helpful in an illustrative way. For now, the perks we have to offer are purely aesthetic. On the actual details, as with everything we do here, we'll try to learn quickly and iterate as necessary, but we're launching with 2 tiers for now, and as I said, they're both essentially aesthetics in exchange for a recurring tip. The first entry is you can be a captain of industry for $3 a month, or a titan of industry for $5 a month. If you'd like to give more than that, 1, you're incredible, thank you. And 2, you can use the one-time tip function either on YouTube or our Buy Me a Coffee page, but if I could make a suggestion, where possible, spending that donation on a gift membership for someone else in the community who can't afford one would be even better. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, feel free to ask any questions you have here or on our Discord. Otherwise, happy building, and we'll see you around. All right, how about that? How was that? I was hoping this train would be moving the entire time, but I'll find a different clip. Oh well. But you've just been brought in behind the curtain on the YouTube. Oh my goodness. Kyle, good lord. Thank you, my friend. I'm just now seeing this. That is so kind of you. I'm floored. Thank you, Kyle. I mean, we got to give you a cargo ship now too, right? SCS Kyle McGee. Now we owe another cargo ship to our friend from earlier as well, so I'll have to remember that. But I'm floored. Thank you, Kyle. Incredible. Really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Impressively reading. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just like, yeah, floored. That's very kind. That's incredible. I appreciate it. And thank you all. As I said, it's a totally optional way that you can help support us, but I don't want anyone to be left out structurally in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, very fun. Yeah, and you like the idea of the save the saves? Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's, I enjoy that stuff. Like, I really love trying to pull out of a death spiral in general, but it also feels like it would help or fit the sort of educational and interesting learning environment brand, I guess, that we're working on. So yeah, I would really like to do that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I'm going to be traveling a bit that I've referenced. I'm going to try to like put out a call for any of those submissions beforehand because I can play a little bit on the road even if I can't record. Be kind of fun to poke around. But yeah, yeah, you've seen, yeah, Biffa does it for City Skylines. Yeah, exactly. Certainly not my original suggestion. In fact, I think it was someone else suggested that it would be a good fit for our channel in particular as well. So credit all the way around where it is due. But it does feel like it could be kind of fun. And this is a game that has death spirals and could be helpful for folks. There's nothing more frustrating than having put a lot of time into a save and then it just kind of crashes out. That's not fun. So if we can help people with that, all the better, all the better. But yeah, so that's the thought. That was the bit of channel business I wanted to mention. The other one I did want to mention, if you're on our Discord, we put an announcement about this out as well, but we are going to migrate it to a community server. It's not even migration, that's overselling it. It's going to convert to a community server. And nobody should see any difference unless you haven't verified your Discord email, your email with Discord. So just as a quick FYI, if that is not something you've done, you can either do that, otherwise you'll just be stuck lurking and unable to post. But if you have any concerns about that, let me know, please. I don't think it should be disruptive, but I want to make sure that we're messaging it clearly in advance so no one's surprised. So, also soothing to see things go from red to green. Yeah, 100%, right? I mean, that's basically the entire love-hate relationship I have with the alert system in this game. So, exactly that. Just join the Discord. Brilliant. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah. It's a great community. Oh my gosh. I feel so lucky already that we've got an awesome group of very helpful, very responsive folks. So if you are ever, if you're ever trying to figure something out, something's bothering you, you can't figure out what the heck is going on, you need troubleshooting help, dump a screenshot. You'll have like 4 people answering you immediately. It's awesome. And if you're an experienced player and you just want to bounce an idea off some other experienced players, do that too, right? It's a really cool, it's a really cool stuff, a really cool setup that we have already. I'm just floored, especially in the last month, the response that we've gotten. It's been really cool. It's been really cool. It's been the most boring moderation gig you've ever had. Good, good. That's exactly the best compliment I can give the community that you've given the community already. That's perfect. Yeah, that's great. Everyone's awesome. I mean, the game itself has a great community, I think, and it's made of people who I think understands what we've been kind of talking about all afternoon, which is it's a great game with a bit of a learning curve that we just want to help people get past so that they can enjoy it like we do. That's the that's the dream. If there's a single united theme on the on our community, that's it so far. So it's pretty cool. All right, well, I think I'm gonna call it there. I'm starting to lose my voice, and my eyes are crossing, so I'm sure I'm becoming less and less entertaining every minute that goes by too. So, but this was awesome. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for the support, for tuning in, for all of it. Not just today, but really these last few weeks and months. It's been truly a blast. The most fun I've ever had in my professional life, no question. And yeah, I look forward to more of it. More of this specifically. Be very fun to stream more often as well. And yeah, the future seems bright. I'm excited about it. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next one. We'll put out a bit of a recap slash next episode of the edited series early middle of next week. But until then, have a great rest of your day, and bye-bye.